It's the wrong way on a map. I'm going to go to the provider's website and download a DMG.
The dung.
And then I'm going to drag and drop that DGMB.
The irony...
I'm not going to go to the App Store.
See, it's really easy. There's no installation process. You just have to drag and drop the app and then eject the disk image afterwards. And don't forget to trash the disk image because you don't need that anymore, and then empty your trash.
Yes.
Hello. Welcome, everyone. It's us. We're live. Almost there. Now just open that file that just downloaded. You can feel the website designer there being like, you have to run the file. Download does just means you downloaded it. You still need to do something with the download. This is a really slick setup. Yeah, I've always liked that. But yeah.
Oh, a new and named Firefox already exists in this location.
Owned.
Oh, very well. Can I just go, like, right-click and pin to dock?
No, you got to drag it to the dock.
Okay.
I hope you guys are ready for 3 hours of Caradog struggling to use macOS and complaining about it. I had an epiphany while we were setting up today, where I had an epiphany that macOS to Caradog is as Linux is to me. Like, I am the macOS expert, and Caradog is just like, this doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, you just don't get it because you don't know how to do it. And he's like, no, it's dumb and stupid and I hate it. Right. And this is what I'm like with Linux, where Linux experts are just like, you just don't get it because you don't know how to use it. And I'm like, no, it's dumb and stupid and I hate it. So anyway, hello, how are we all doing? Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, hello, hello. Didn't see you come in there. Anyway. How are we all doing? All right. We are here.
Yes.
This is the start of the show.
This iCloud email address has emails in it that are not for the email address of the iCloud account.
I see.
Because I have committed tomfoolery.
Oh no. Just a quick, is there anything private there or?
No.
Okay,
no.
Fine, yeah.
But it was just the fact I just opened mail and was just like, ha.
To remove stuff from the dock, drag it up into the middle and like wait a sec.
It's because I hadn't.
Yeah. Oh, you hadn't exited.
Quit.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Because clicking close doesn't close.
It's like the system tray. Anyway.
Yeah, but do you know what happens when I click close on a window on Windows? It closes.
But what if it closes to the system tray? Because some apps do that.
Yeah.
The dock is like the system tray. Hi from Glasgow. Hi, Stephen Kelly, how you doing? And hello, everyone else. Right. How come no moving vlog yesterday? I'm going to release it this afternoon because this week's video was slightly late. I wanted to let it linger for a bit longer because the PS4 repair video is performing well, so I don't want to immediately tank it with a video that's not going to perform well. I love you moving vlog videos, but you're doing terribly and I can't wait to be finished with them. So, however, I've kind of committed to it now. A video performing well? I know, right, pre-revenue? Remember when the channel used to perform well? Pepperidge Farm remembers. We'll get there. We'll get there. It'll be all right.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
There will be no cause for concern.
Nope. You just got a 15-inch MacBook Air? Do you mean a 15-inch MacBook Pro, or have they made a 15-inch Air? I really hope there's no 15-inch Air, because that would be terrible. Please find out. Anyway. But yes, welcome in one and all. So this week we're going to be doing, let's see, 5 minutes into the show and we're still on the intro. This week we're going to be speccing PCs.
No.
I have a...
Heck.
I have a...
No.
While Caradog tries to remember the gestures on a macOS trackpad. Yeah, we're going to be speccing PCs. I've got one to spec for an actual real customer who came in earlier on today being like, I want a gaming PC. That's not how he sounded, by the way, so yeah. Then the other ones are just for fun, because we did a show a while back where we just specced up a couple of different PCs, like a couple of different PCs at a couple of different budgets and a few stipulations, like has to be AMD or has to be Intel or something like that. And it was just generally a good time, just talking about what hardware was out there and being like, what's actually good value right now, you know? And like, it seems to be a good exercise in just keeping your finger on the pulse, because like, I hate speccing up PCs. Like, some people love it. I actually really hate speccing up PCs, but doing it on the show here, I actually found kind of interesting. So yeah, so that's what we're going to be doing. Why don't you upload the moving vlog videos to this channel? Because they're already on the main channel, basically. I could upload them again to the second channel, but at that point, I may as well just not bother, in my opinion. So yeah, if I'd known in advance that they weren't going to perform, I mean, I guess after the first one didn't do well, I could have done that. However, now we're easily halfway through the moving vlog videos now. It doesn't make sense to move them all. So yeah. Right. Spec my PC from today. No, Sai. No one can help you, Sai. God can't help you anymore.
I don't know what's been going on, but okay.
So I posted some pictures of a customer PC that came into his place, it's you have to see the pictures to understand. But it's one of those terrible PCs where like the PC looks like it's from 1995, but it's got a semi-modern motherboard and CPU in it. Like it looks archaic, and it's in an archaic case that's crammed full of dust and broken front USB ports and stuff like that. But it's got a modern Gigabyte motherboard and a Ryzen 2600X in it. And the person who owns it clearly thinks they know lots about computers, but yet they have this as their daily driver kind of thing, you know? And it's like, please just build a new machine. But yeah, anyway, sleeper. Boy. That's one way to put it, Jay Gordon, is that it's a sleeper. So... At any rate, yeah, didn't I see the last update, Si, was that the chat was going to let you recase it? Because that's good. So, does YouTube not throw a hissy fit if you upload the same video on 2 channels? I don't know, actually. I mean, I private them. I would unlist them on the main channel if I did that. But yeah. So yes, in the 90s when you were building PCs for others, the speccing was a great time. Yeah, like, don't get me wrong, I don't think speccing up computers is a bad job. It's just not something I particularly enjoy for some reason, and I don't know why. Yeah, I couldn't tell you why. I just don't get enjoyment out of it. It's the bit that I hate the most. So yeah, but it's sad. Everything new but the board. Yeah, good times, good times. Very good. So, first order of business today will be a PC for a client. We've got £700 or £800 to spend, and we already have a graphics card. Now, for me, I heard, I was like, oh, £700 or £800 to spend, and we've already got a graphics card. Let's see if we can glass cannon this and get a 7800X3D in there. However, Caradog was just like, that's dumb because it's a 3060 Ti. And that's a bad pairing. And I was like, you've kind of got a point. So we're going to try to see if we can do a 7800X 3D spec on 700 or 800 quid. Decent rounded spec. However, I think the actual advice to the customer is going to be, don't build, let's back off a bit and spend some of your money on getting a nice new monitor as well, for example. So that's the kind of direction that we're going into. But yeah. Also, though, I've no idea if
no.
I've no idea if 7800X 3D is plausible. Oh no. Okay. Caradog has just had a terrible time with his SSD. He's just slid open his M.2 SSD, and there's now an SMD capacitor on the bench that has obviously just been clipped off. Can you see where it's come off from?
If it's come from the SSD, I'm sad. If it's come from the enclosure, I don't care, because I have 2 of these.
I don't see a world where it could have come from the enclosure. I mean, we can put it back on, but yeah. What SSD enclosure is it? It's an Elutang, and is this NVMe?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an Elutang NVMe to Type C enclosure, and it's got a Crucial P3 in it.
And it seems to tap out about 600 megabytes a second.
Yeah, that's not bad. It's quicker than a SATA would be, so.
Yeah.
Where the Jeffries could that have come from? Yeah.
Right.
Because, like, this sticker is covering most of the board. So, like, that would have...
It would have needed to have come from the edges.
Yeah.
And I think if you look at by one of the chips, there's some pads there that look ever so slightly different to the other ones. But, like, what?
Yeah. Well, it's not going to explode if you just plug it in and see if it works. So what I would suggest is that we carefully put that SMD cap. Let me have a look at that. That SMD cap is huge to have come from there as well.
But it fell out of the case.
Yeah. How's the cap come off the end of that? Not quite. I'm just going to quickly measure that just so we know what it is in case it gets lost. Please excuse this interruption, everyone. We've just had
has it?
Have you spotted it?
Has it come from there? Because,
where your nail is?
Yeah, because look, there's 2 pads and 1.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that looks way too big to fit in there, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's no way that fits in there.
But what?
Drama on the podcast, I know, everyone.
Oh, that was utterly unexpected.
What? Oh, I think that's just a really bad 10 microfarad. It's like 13.75 microfarad. So I think that's just a really rough as guts 10 microfarad. Because capacitors have hilarious tolerances on them. Like 20% is normal kind of thing. And you're like, what? So, all right. Okay, well, I would plug that in and see if it works personally.
Absolutely.
And I'll put this to one side.
I'll put this somewhere safe.
Yes, I'm going to attach it to one of the magnets up here, which is where naughty capacitors live. Ugh. All right, so we're going to spec some computers today. Right. Okay. So, right. So let's do some specking. We'll get started, and then that'll get things going. Over to the microscope. Yeah, well, there's nothing to see because I can't see anywhere that it could have come off from. There's only the only places I can see that are large enough for that capacitor to have come off from are no stuff. So yeah, it might have I suppose you'd have to peel off the sticker to see if there's anything missing from under the sticker, because perhaps unless actually, does this bit come apart? The problem is you guys can't actually see what's going on here, and I'm like, am I gonna go get? Are we actually gonna? We haven't set up any cameras, which is why I'm sort of going.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, I'm just curious now.
Oh boy.
Going just a little bit
further. I
further.
have just seen some of the... Oh, boy.
Oh, Caradog is now perceiving the PC in question.
No, I am not. It doesn't exist. It cannot hurt me. How do I open new desktops? Oh, yeah, like that.
Right. Okay. So, £700 or £800 to spend on a gaming PC. We have a 3060 Ti as the graphics card.
Can I? May I?
We're going to get PC Part Picker open, I guess.
Oh, hacking full screen.
and complain about macOS.
Tile to the right.
Oh,
of the
yeah,
screen.
there we go. It's
Tile
come
to
off
the
of
left
here.
of the screen. There you go.
Yeah, it's come off of the corner there.
Ah.
So yeah.
Very well. At least it's not the SSD, the expensive part.
Yeah. I'm just going to put that on there because this will take 10 seconds.
Absolutely.
And then it's done. So, yeah.
There you go. So how much did we say? £700?
Yeah, however, I'm going to quickly do this. So hold on a sec. I'm just going to plug in.
No, of course. I'm just...
I was going to say, because otherwise you're going to...
I am cogitating.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
I was like,
yes.
okay, £700.
Yeah, start at 700. We're doing 700 to 800, and we've got bleed room as well. The customer was just like, if it costs a bit more, it costs a bit more.
Yeah.
So.
And we're assuming that this is a case. This is tower only.
Yes, correct.
Initially, that's what we're going to consider.
On a similar note,
£800 for all of that is a nice PC.
Yeah.
Have there been any considerations about like storage requirements?
So I said for storage we'll start at just a 1 terabyte SSD, and we'll use that as the bleed space basically. So we'll build 700 to 800 with 1 terabyte, and then if you turn around and say, actually I want 2 terabytes in there, we can be like, cool, that's going to be another 50 quid then, you know. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Right.
Okay.
Just
apparently chat errored, but chat appears to have returned. Fabulous. Also, hello people.
Cool.
What is the power draw on a 3060? I don't know, but I would be guessing that I would allow personally like 275 watt because it's not much. However, I can look, for I have a laptop right in front of me.
Yes.
And vid 3060. There you go.
Whoop. This explains why this capacitor had such hilarious tolerances on it, because it's from the Eluteng thing, which is cheap electronics.
Absolutely.
Whereas, like, the Crucial SSD probably actually has, you know, good capacitors on it.
You would certainly hope so.
Yeah.
Right, the specifications from NVIDIA for a 3060 are 170 watts.
Yeah.
Damn!
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Mid-range just doesn't use power. It's only the top end where you really actually have to care.
Yeah. So even if we round that up a bit, 200 watts.
Yeah.
100 watt for a power supply. For the CPU. Sorry. For something of that class. Yeah, wow. Yeah, you'll easily fit on a 550 watt.
Yeah. Which is grand, because like it feels weird speccing like 550, 600 watt power supplies in this day and age, but like that's a valid option, and power supplies are expensive. I'd like to put in something bigger than that for headroom, but technically we don't need to.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. But like even the 3060 Ti is 200 watts, so we'll call that 220 for a little bit extra. Still 10% more.
Yeah.
That's not bad. Yeah. No, it's funny when you look at this end, when you're used to seeing horrifying numbers out of 3090s and 3090 Ti's.
Yeah.
4090s, and just being like, 400 watts. What is this?
Yeah,
and then it's just like, oh yeah, 170 watt for a 3060. Never mind.
What it should be.
But yes. Yes.
Where's my wick? John Wick. There it is.
DDR5, yeah. You can pick up a 2 terabyte WD Black for $100 right now. Yeah, that sounds about right. Now check what 700. Has anyone checked what 700 to 800 pound buys you from Venus Corp?
Oh no. Should we do that for a laugh? You should do that. You should actually legitimately.
I don't want to know.
I do.
I do want to know what PC World will sell you though.
Okay, yeah, sure.
As well.
Yeah, let's.
Because can you remember when we were looking for a £500 PC, and it was like go to Curry's and get a Pentium Silver for £500.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, what is this? Yes. Hello, Dave. Yes, there was a random rattling sound from my SSD, and SSD shouldn't rattle. And then I found that a capacitor had fallen off. So it is being fixed live. You wanted live repairs. Here they are.
I put a capacitor back on a board. Oh, it's fine. I've seen it.
And I somehow put it on the wrong way round.
This is why you measure the capacitor when you have the opportunity, so when you blow it away with the hot air station, you'll be like, it's okay because I know what the value of it was.
Absolutely. No, it's soldering on top of the back of an IMAX, not an IMAX screen, a MacBook screen.
I've lost both of the hard drive covers, so I'm just using a broken MacBook screen. But also, like, the YouTube
You are now
comment...
200% flexing.
Yeah, the YouTube section, the YouTube comments lost their mind over this. And I'm like, I might keep using it for that exact reason. Because everyone just suddenly sees the Apple logo and is like, bitch, are you soldering this on a MacBook? And I'm like, yes. But also no. There you go. You can come off of the microscope view now. We're done.
Yes. I wonder if that's what happened to the other SSD adapter I've got.
Maybe it's just in a... We'll have a look in a sec to see where it fits in, to see what clipped it off the board. Because maybe there is a design fault where that capacitor is just prone to getting clipped off of the board.
Yeah, that's bizarre.
Hello again, everyone.
I love it when you read the specifications for stuff off of certain, off of like manufacturer websites, and it's like, ready for VR. And it's like, cool, it's a GPU.
Yeah. VR's just it's a buzzword, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, so that goes on there.
But also I like the fact that specification lists can't say that something doesn't support something.
Yeah.
It just has to not say anything. So it's like, does this GPU support NVLink or SLI? Dash.
Yeah.
I couldn't say no. I'm just going to say, stumm.
It's weird. I can't see what... Like, there's no interference in that area. There's... Oh, I think I see... Oh, I see what it is. Oh, that's insidious, man. I'm going to show this under the microscope because it's interesting. Back to the microscope.
Here we are again.
With the ill behavior. So here's the back of this thing. Microscope is a bit too close in for this, but I can't be bothered to get the other camera out. So so there's the capacitor that had been knocked off the board. And so this cover goes over the top of this. And so let's turn up the brightness a bit again. There we go. So I'm looking at these plastic tabs here, and I'm like, could this tab catch that somehow? It's like, no, it's miles away. Look, there's no clearance problems whatsoever. What's going on there? However, here's the thing. If we look at the underside, so this edge here that my nail is touching, so if that is closed down there, you can see that that lines up with the edge. Then when you pull the cable out, the circuit board gets pushed up against that plastic edge, and it's clipped it off. Now the other side, there's nothing there, so that's fine. But that capacitor is just tall enough that when that is there, you can see that plastic there will line up and just shear it off. So like repeat cycles is what's going to do that, but that's what's happened to it. There we go. Mystery solved.
Wild.
Big brain, but not terribly big. I just use my eyes.
Indeed.
Dremel it out. It's not a... Yeah, maybe. I don't know. See if it happens again, I guess. I mean, now it's been hand soldered on, it'll be stronger because obviously I've used like 3 times the amount of solder that the factory will use. Hmm. Grizz Redford bought a power supply from Scan this week that proudly stated on the box, Cabby Lake ready. See, that's funny on multiple levels. It's funny because that's like, what, 6 years old? Cabby Lake now, I think? The 6th gen is Cabby, isn't it?
Oh gosh. Not
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, 6th gen is
Yeah.
Cabby. So that's funny
7th?
because that's
Yeah.
like 2015, 2016 or something like that. But it's also funny because like you don't need a power supply to support your platform because it's ATX. So
I was going to say, funny you should say that, though.
are you about to actually me?
I'm going to say, based on
Oh, Skylake was 6th. What was Cabby?
unsubstantiated
Oh, 7th. Yeah.
comments from a single source.
Okay.
So, with that qualification in mind,
Yeah.
apparently, Sapphire Rapids workstation and server
Yeah.
requires minimum 1500 watts.
Bloody hell.
Requires minimum 1500 watts, even though the peak reported power draw is less than 400 watts per socket. So
Is there
even
a
if you're
logic
using
behind
less than 400 watts, it will apparently trip if you've got less than 1500 supply. Apparently. Single source, but yeah, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
if true,
Yeah.
what the dick?
Yeah, transient spikes. That'd be an interesting question for Spud Nugget. Because he...
As far as I'm aware, they haven't had any yet because they're not big enough.
Oh, interesting, yeah.
Literally the only people who are getting them are Intel Titanium partners.
Oh, wow.
Scan
Yeah.
has apparently got 2.
Fair enough. Yeah. Yeah, like if Scan don't have them, then yeah. Because, yeah, Scan is the
They are
close...
certainly the largest workstation supplier.
Yeah, Scan is the closest thing the UK has to a micro center. And they are also a system integrator. So, you know, like if Scan don't have it, then it's probably not broadly available in the country, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah. Interesting. So yeah, apparently transients and stuff, I don't know, that high, unless unless they're building that in to account for drives and stuff like that. But this is enterprise space. You don't need to build in idiot figures.
But yeah, but
You know.
apparently it's a case of like, you need a 1500 watt power supply for the system to not just shut down
Oh wow, yeah.
when you load the OS.
Oh, okay, so it is literally like people are saying transients.
Hard cutout.
Yeah.
Yeah, not like the recommendation is, no, the system does not function unless. And obviously I have no idea if they were using garbage tier power supplies that say 750 watt on the side and are actually 430 watt.
Yeah.
But again, single source, unverified by other parties, but I'm just like, what?
Yeah, it's kind of depressing that we need power supplies to have a sustained and to have a peak and RMS value kind of thing, where like we do with speakers, you know. Because the thing is just like these days, like you only actually need like 500 or 600 watts in your power supply, but it has to be able to do peaks of like a kilowatt kind of thing. Doesn't need to be able to sustain that. It's just got to be able to peak it to account for transients.
Yeah.
And like, unironically, that sounds like a good idea to me. Is to actually say, look, we're not going to go we're going to go peak and sustained values now.
Yeah.
You know, like, is that a bad idea? What, you know, I don't know. Like someone who I haven't put any thought into that, but that doesn't sound like a terrible idea to me. I think that's a hot take, but not all hot takes are bad, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But just, if true, interesting.
Yeah.
Because there was certainly the comment from Intel that they were stopping shipping all of the Sapphire Rapid chips for a while because they found
KB
bugs.
Lake. All right.
They found issues So they stopped shipping all of them for like a month.
Ah.
It was like interesting. And apparently, Intel partners in Australia cannot get any of them.
Oh.
It's just like interesting. I'm not saying Intel's having problems.
I was gonna say,
but,
yeah, like especially.
I mean, AMD has been an absolute execution machine 5 generations in a row.
Yeah, and this is the thing: is that like, like demolishing Intel in the enthusiast space is not the end of the world. It's bad because because the enthusiast isn't worth much, but it has a lot of mind share.
Yeah.
However, if you're actually getting demolished in the enterprise workspace, that's where you're actually making your money. So, like, if you're actually losing there, or if your product is literally just no good, that is actually like getting into the territory of like legitimately in trouble financially kind of territory now. And like, I don't know, like you always look at Intel and you're like, it's Intel, they're too big to fail, but it's like,
tell that to Northern Rock.
Yeah. And it's a case of, Intel have been too big to fail and getting their teeth kicked in by AMD for, like you say, like 5 generations. It's like, how long can you sit on the curb getting your teeth kicked in before you actually die?
Yeah.
Big concern. Intel is the new IBM. That's it. Yeah.
That's a statement.
Well, yeah, but that's not absurd, is it? Because like, when I say Intel is too big to fail, I'm like, but they've got all of the R&D, they've got all of the patents, they've got all of the specialist stuff. It's like that's what IBM had.
Yeah.
That's not. Yeah. I see.
But yeah, like I watched Level 1 Tech's Wendell's video on the new AMD server CPUs that came out yesterday, 2 days ago. And they are seeing performance scaling in certain tasks of 100% in 12 months.
Wow. Yeah, that's yeah. That's a lot, man.
And it's just like, I see.
Yeah, and like the thing is just like it's believable because like you remember when
yeah, this is in Wendell's benchmarks.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, whilst sure, specific workloads, but I'm just like,
it's up to 100%. It's still mind blowing because if it's up to 100%, we can assume that the worst case scenario is like 50%, which is still mind blowing. Like, remember when Ryzen 3000 was on the horizon and they were like, oh, it's going to be 20% faster kind of thing. You're like, 20%? You're having a laugh.
Yeah.
Because we're all hecking Stockholm syndromed into Intel's 5 to 10% per generation.
Intel's 1 to 5% per generation.
Yeah. And just suddenly, yeah. Man, what a time to be into IT, right?
It's been a really good 5 years.
Yeah, big time. Don't forget, guys, late 90s, early noughties, it was the other way around. Yeah, I don't know enough about, like, I know that AMD did give Intel a kick in at that point, but I wasn't, I'm not aware enough to know, like, I don't know, did AMD have I don't know enough. I know what desktop had in those days, but like, what was the server space like in the late 90s, early noughties? Like, servers existed at that point.
Yeah.
What were they running? Were there Xeons in the late 90s, early noughties?
I don't know. It's too far beyond my time.
Because like,
effectively, because obviously
I know what consumer CPUs were around at that point, but I don't know anything about server enterprise space from that point.
My actual knowledge starts in like 2003, 2004.
Yeah, although I guess Opteron was a thing in the early noughties because I was building Opterons in the early noughties.
Yeah.
And so that was a thing.
I remember kind of going, I'd really like to build a socket 940 system. And then by the time I actually had any money, I was just like, yes, consumer desktop CPUs that are 400% faster than those socket 940 machines.
Yeah.
Yeah. Build cheap, build often.
Yeah. 940 was such a weird socket as well, because there was just such an oddball amount from there, because like my socket 940 system that I had in you know, the mid noughties, mid to late noughties, that was that started off, that was a, you know, AMD, that was Athlon 64 era. However, I bought an Opteron socket 940 because I wanted the pimp value, and the Opteron was effectively just a high binned Athlon. Sorry, the Opteron socket 940 was effectively just a high binned Athlon 64. But then at the end of that one, the Athlon X2 had come out, and there were dual core Opterons for socket 940. So the socket 940 did see some dual core CPUs. So obviously that was a massive range of performance on that socket effectively. But yeah. Late 90s was Unix and NT on Xeon and Pentium 3. Not single AMD around. Yeah. Then that was also Unix on Space, Parsec, MIPS. Oh, Spark, yeah. Yeah, Spark was IBM, right? Yes. I'm going to grab a cider because I'm going to get started early because I've drunk my coffee. And I think we should start talking about PCs. Do the headline topic. You've got a bottle over there, haven't you? Yep.
Apparently, Intel Xeons launched June 1998.
Xeons were June 1998. Oh,
yes.
Fair enough, yeah.
Yes, targeted at the non-consumer workstation, server, and embedded system markets. It was introduced in June 1998. Xeon processors are based on the same architecture as regular desktop-grade CPUs, but have advanced features such as ECC support, higher core counts, more PCIe, express lanes, support for larger amounts of RAM, larger cache, blah, 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 blah. This is a really long run-on sentence. I still haven't reached the end of a sentence. There it is. There's a full stop. Jesus Christ, that sentence is 6 lines long.
Hi, Wikipedia, yeah. Anyway.
And then there was Itanium.
You know what I'd love? Does anyone know, like, are there any YouTubers out there that have done, like, a video essay on, like, the story of Itanium? Because I don't know anything.
Chips and Cheese has done a web article about it.
Yeah, I want something in video format that I can watch while
Chips and Cheese have done that. I can't think of anyone who's done a... It depends on what level you want to go into, but, like, I can't think of anyone at all who's done a video essay on it. I know that...
Titanic, yeah.
Yeah.
Because, like, I don't know anything about Itanium, and I really would like to sit down and listen to someone do a video essay talking about what was Itanium, what was different about it, what was its objectives, and why did it fail, you know? And I'm sure that there's a couple of people who can give a one-liner about that in the chat now, but like that's something that I would love to sit and listen to, like a half-hour, 1 hour long video essay about
From
this
the
weekend.
very little I know about it, it's a case of the reason it failed is because it could this is going to sound like a really brush off answer, but the performance wasn't there.
Yeah.
Because the instruction sets that it was using were too big. The instruction words were too large.
Interesting.
So they couldn't clock fast enough.
Yeah.
So the clock speed had to stay low because the instruction words, you know what I mean? The actual like core processor, the assembly language effectively things were too big to clock fast, and the branch is inside it were too long.
Yeah.
But that was a problem because they couldn't clock them fast. Whereas on NetBurst they could clock them fast, which undid some of the penalty of them being like 40 or 60 stages.
Yeah.
And it was combinations of that. And then, like, no one wrote for the specific instructions that it had.
So it was constantly emulating.
So it was effectively having to translate. And it's kind of it was a case of it wasn't like x86 CPUs with an AVX 512 accelerator.
Yeah.
It was an AVX 512 accelerator trying to run x86.
It had the PS3 problem.
kind of.
Where it was
I'm
running
probably missing a lot
Yeah.
of actual correct word usage, but that's what I understand from
Yeah.
it. It was a case of basically,
broadly speaking, it had the PS3 problem where it had a fairly exotic architecture that was theoretically brilliant, but because a lot of stuff was not specifically written for it, it was constantly having to translate to from a normal person architecture, which was just completely erasing all of its performance gains.
yeah, as
And yeah,
far as I
the
understand it.
long instruction words. So for my knowledge of CPU architecture is middling. However, like the instruction words are, for example, if you say store A, that means store this value in the A register. And then obviously there is a laundry list of different instructions you can give the CPU, like store this number in this register, load this number from this register, and so on. And each one of those words has to be X many bytes long, and you've got to have this many list of words. So if you've got too many instruction words and the length of the word is too long, because you can only have so many combinations of letters and numbers and stuff like that, you're losing bus time just saying the instruction word, not the actual job kind of thing, and so on and so forth. So yeah. And once again, because we're on the subjects of CPU architecture, if anyone wants a really good grounding in how a CPU works, go and watch Ben Eater's 8-bit breadboard computer series. Because if you watch that, that will teach you how a CPU works in half an hour to 1 hour long chunks. But by the time you watch that series, you'll be like, I know how a CPU works now. It's mind-bending, that series. Very good. And it's not even about how a CPU works, but also it is. It's fantastic. Anyway, let's see. Level 1 Tex and Tech Potato did some Itanium videos. Tech Tales podcast did a good one. And David Guetta?
Not the DJ.
Is there a DJ called David Guetta?
Yes.
I see.
The one who did Titanium?
Oh no! Oh, Duma! Have I been had? I've been had. I trusted you and you deceived me. See, this is why people find me funny, because I walk face first into traps like this in such a beautifully innocent way. Anyway, I don't listen to popular music. God damn it. Tech Tales podcast. Level 1 Tech and Tech Potato. I recognize Level 1 Tech and Tech Potato. I don't know Tech Tales podcast, but sometimes I'm looking for new people to watch and listen to. So
if you're willing to expend the effort of reading,
no.
There is the
yeah.
Chips and Cheese article.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Could you do me a favor and DM that to me, just in case I don't spot something I like? But yeah, I want to listen to something. I don't do a lot of reading these days, so because whatever. Itanium. Oops, I accidentally backslashed. There we go. God damn it! Right.
Yeah. Also, again, for people who enjoy reading about stuff, Chips and Cheese did a really good article breaking down Bulldozer and its evolution and so on, and just also to a degree just kind of why it didn't work.
That would probably be very interesting as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because again, Bulldozer is a really interesting. That's another one that I'd like to know more about, because I know the gists of Bulldozer, but again, I would love an expert to break it down for me, because I've got just enough. I have enough understanding that if an expert broke it down for me, I would understand what they're saying.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of topics, especially when it comes to CPU architecture and stuff like that, where you need a minimum amount of knowledge and understanding to understand what you're being told.
Yeah.
It's like trying to read. It's like when the one time that I tried to read a brief history of the universe.
Oh, brief history of time.
A brief history of time. Yeah, I got through a couple of pages and was just like, this is just word salad to me. I don't have enough basic understanding to understand these ideas. I need to go away and do a physics course, and then I will read this and be like, but I don't have the minimum. It's like when you go to the magic trainer NPC and they're like, your intelligence is not high enough to learn this spell. You do actually need a minimum amount to understand what someone is trying to teach you, So yeah. So yes, trying to read PSU reviews. Yeah. Did you watch the GN AMD tour? Haven't gotten around to it yet. Don't know why. Just I don't know. I think it's mainly just I think that's sitting on my watch later though. So,
I haven't gotten round to it only because I'm really out of sync with GN's uploads. I'm like a month and a half behind on their uploads somehow.
Oh, you trying to watch every video they put out?
And I've just somehow ended up completely askew on like all of the different stuff I watch. There's like a couple of channels where I'm completely up to date, watched everything, and then others I'm like a month and a half behind. And I'm like, what?
Fair
So
enough.
yeah, I just randomly flick through the channels now and just watch like 8 in a row. And I'm just like, cool, that channel's basically up to date now.
Right. Okay. So with all of that said,
oh boy,
let's start speccing a computer.
I literally just looked at what the price of a 7800X3D is in the UK.
All right. Are we good to start going to video capture?
Yeah.
Cool. Blammo.
It's
nice.
£403.
Oh, hang on a sec. I've got to plug in the.
Do you need to actually plug it in?
Shut.
Because I was wondering why my screen resolution had changed. But I hadn't quite connected the dots.
Okay, right.
Suddenly 600% scaling.
Let's see. Where can I put us where we're not in the way? Top left, I think?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So top left.
That's kind of why this is here.
Yeah, and do you want to just bash it? Do you want to zoom in by like 1 or 2 notches?
Huh.
Yeah, that'll do. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. If people can't read that text, then I'm sorry, you'll need to full screen. Right, okay, so yeah, so 7800X3D is like £400. So, well,
yeah,
should we roll with that for a second? Say, okay, we're building with a 7800X3D. What's the minimum viable to build a system with a 7800X3D?
Also, my pointer is broken.
Oh yeah, it's over there now. So yes. What are the Ryzen Pro CPUs? I can't remember actually. What were the Ryzen Pros?
I'm going to take a wild guess at the Pro range in exactly the same way as the like 3600X Pro and stuff were.
Were they just slightly bigger caches, but not the 3D cache?
No, they were just the Pro version in the same way as the Intel i5V.
So slightly higher clocks.
No, literally identical. They're just the enterprise version. They're the Dell enterprise machine version.
So they just cost more.
Probably not. They probably they'll probably end up costing actually the same amount in OEM space, but they are.
Or perhaps it's more of a distribution thing, like this is a chip that is just made tray only kind of thing.
You know, Intel did the was it V Pro badging?
Yes, yeah.
It's like that. It's that Enterprise V Pro badging. It's like the management engine stuff and things like that.
Yeah. Oh, some security thing as well, apparently. Yeah, that makes sense.
That's what I'm saying. They're functionally identical.
Yeah.
But it's also a case of we'd probably never buy one because I think they always carry a slight price disadvantage.
Also, these are the ones that have that the Pro ones. These are all the.
I think they're e-fusible.
I was about to say these are the ones that have got the e-fuses and stuff in them, aren't they? So that's what the Pro actually means. It's got additional features for that purpose and stuff. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. So yeah. So they're not pro as in they're better. They're pro as in they have they are available with some certain options and features that would be useful to OEMs and such. So, all right. So I want to start with the 7800X 3D, even though I don't think that's what we're going to end up with. I just want to find out how much does it cost to build a 7800X 3D computer right now. So lob one of those in, and then.
There you go.
So we're looking at X670 or B650.
I'm just looking at what prices are.
Yeah,
Initially.
and so B650 is 100% acceptable for a gaming PC. It's just because the only real difference to the X1, the X670 will have more PCI Express slots and stuff available, but this is not stuff that's really useful to most gamers. So, how much do you wish to min-max? Not massively. We're looking fairly broad at the moment. So yeah, we're going fairly broad strokes here. So MSI B650 Gaming plus Wi-Fi. ASRock B650M Pro RS Wi-Fi, was that on the list as well, apparently? Gaming X-AX.
That looks fine.
Yeah, that looks all right. That's got Wi-Fi on it. So what was that? So we're looking at sub £200 here. That's a good start.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good to see modern mid-range motherboards at sub £200 again.
Yeah,
because I
still think £200 for these boards is too much. For me personally, because it's still the B chipset.
Yeah, but at least that's a chipset that's actually good.
Yeah,
because the B chipset is decent
like
these days.
that from Asus for 190 quid.
Yeah, that's garbage for 190 quid. That's
I'm just like,
yeah, that's horrid. The primes are always horrid though these days. I think they're not bad. They're just very uninspired. They really are just minimum viable product, I think.
Are we going to go for the MSI?
Okay, right. Where's the ASRock? I'm not seeing the ASRock near the top of that list. So that
Which one?
Apparently the ASRock B650 Pro RS.
ASRock Pro RS.
Oh yeah, there it is. It's on the screen now. 204.
Yeah.
What does that look like? Just out of interest. Like there are cheaper options available, which basically just makes it a no-go as far as I'm concerned. That looks not awful.
But it also is kind of a case of I'm looking at this isn't awful. Or I could spend £30 less and get the MSI.
Exactly. So for that reason, yeah, it seems fine, but also it looks like there are just, equivalently good options. Look at the MSI. Yeah, the MSI is a bit more threadbare, but you have to ask the question, well, what else are you expecting to see there?
You've got two M.2s.
Yeah, you've got
which is all you need.
Two M.2s. You've got your PCI Express 16.
You've got two PCI Express slots that are full length.
The audio looks a bit, I'm not seeing a lot of stuff going on in the audio chipset, but who cares at this bracket? You're not going to find anything particularly inspiring anyway. Like hell, the Gigabyte only has 3 audio output jacks. It doesn't even have surround output on it. So like, you're not going to find good audio in this category.
Yeah, the reason I'll choose the Gigabyte or the MSI will be how many full-size USB ports it's got.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, what does the back I/O look like on these?
No idea, because guess what isn't in the images? The rear I/O.
4 RAM slots. RAM slots isn't really a concern because you're always going to use a 2-module kit anyway. This pretty much any modern gaming system, like any DDR5 system, you're going to do 32 gigs fit and forget, basically. Because there's no point in buying a 16 gig kit of DDR5. So you're going to go 32 gigs, and 32 gigs is going to see it for its meaningful lifetime anyway, unless you're doing workstation stuff. So. There it is, yeah. Let's see. So 2, 4, 6,
there you go.
7.5. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fine.
And then
7.5 versus 4, 5, 6, 7.5. Yeah,
Yeah.
that one's got surround output, but again, like that's incredibly niche. I'm not like having surround output would not be a decision maker
also,
for me.
based off of this photo, the MSI doesn't have a built-in I/O panel, and the Gigabyte does.
Oh yeah, I like the built-in I/O panel, but the MSI has got all USB 3, whereas the Gigabyte has got a couple of USB 2 ports there. Do we care? Like, personally, I'm kind of inclined to say I'd take the Gigabyte because it's got all USB 3.
The MSI.
Oh, the MSI, yeah, because it's got all USB 3. But built-in I/O shield is just a really nice thing to have in terms of like build quality and stuff. It's nice quality of life. But
Oh, that's the gallery specification.
I don't know. I'd probably, yeah, I'm leaning toward the MSI for the extra USB 3 though. So yeah.
Where's the Wi-Fi info? There. Oh, it is 6E as well. Cool, that's fine. I was just making sure they hadn't really skimped out and put like Wi-Fi 5 on it or something.
Yeah, I can't see that being the case. Built-in
No,
Wi-Fi on motherboards, built-in Wi-Fi on motherboards always seems to be good.
Yeah, I was just making sure we weren't going to get trolled on that.
Yeah, definitely. How many USB ports does the customer need? Same as anyone else. They've not specified, but you know, obviously, you're just looking for as many as possible. Basically, what we're looking for is to make sure that, like, every now and then you'll see a board that looks great, and then you look at the rear I/O, and it's got like five USB ports and a Type C. I was like, oh, that's not so good, because yeah, like. Because the Type C port is still extremely niche usage. Type C at the front, I agree. Type C at the back, still kind of niche. So only having 5 Type A ports, that would be a deal breaker as far as I'm concerned. But seeing like 7 and a Type C port, no problem. So yeah. You can't understand Wi-Fi in a modern MOBO. It's an excuse to make them more expensive. Well, it's not an excuse. It just makes them more expensive because you could have put Wi-Fi in that, you know. But the Wi-Fi boards are usually only £10 or £20 more expensive, which is how much a decent Wi-Fi adapter costs. And you've got to consider that a lot of people don't have Ethernet in their bedrooms. A lot of customers are people who have gaming PCs at home, live with parents. They can't just run an Ethernet cable to their bedroom, so they're on Wi-Fi. That's a very, very common setup. And the other thing as well to consider is that if you get built-in Wi-Fi on your motherboard, that also means you've got built-in Bluetooth.
Good built-in Bluetooth.
Good built-in Bluetooth, which means you can use your Xbox controller wirelessly and stuff like that. So again, it's just one of those, it's not critical, but it's nice to have.
And also, if we look at the price list, there isn't an option without Wi-Fi that is full ATX. The cheapest one has Wi-Fi.
So we're not even paying more for the Wi-Fi version.
Yeah.
And the other advantage of Wi-Fi as well is that while most of the time you won't need it, but let's say your broadband goes out, you know, and your broadband is offline for the day because they're doing maintenance or the router has exploded and you're waiting for them to send a new one. You can just turn on wireless hotspot on your phone and your PC has Wi-Fi, so it can just connect to your wireless hotspot.
And also because it's wireless, you can stick your phone in your window.
Yeah. So
if your signal's, you know, a little bit touch and go,
yeah.
you can stick it in the window.
Yeah, sure, you could also plug in a USB cable for that, but just Wi-Fi hotspot just works really nicely kind of thing. So it's just, again, none of these are deal breakers or mission critical, but it's a really good nice to have. There's a lot of quality of life nice to haves that having built-in Wi-Fi can add to a PC. So it's a case of, if the option is there, it's a really nice thing to have. Not critical, but definitely a nice to have. So yeah, they charge us extra for the Wi-Fi hotspot over here. That sucks. But yeah, why not micro ATX? So micro ATX is not awful, but I try to avoid it unless you're really trying to get the size down, because in most instances, micro ATX computers are not meaningfully smaller than full ATX computers. You're talking 1 inch, 2 inches off the height tops, which is not really very much. But what you lose with micro ATX is 9 times out of 10 on a micro ATX motherboard, the PCI Express 16 slot will be like an inch down, and you'll have maybe that much gap between the bottom of the case and your graphics card. So basically, in a lot of micro ATX setups, you lose most of the airflow around the graphics card. And on a mid-range computer, this isn't a big deal, but it's just one of those, like, for the sake of making the whole computer like an inch or 2 inches taller, you suddenly get all of the room that full ATX has and just zero compromise. So basically, the advantages of micro ATX are not really worth it, in my opinion. So micro ATX is really good for office PCs, though. If you're building an office box and it's not going to have a graphics card in it, micro ATX all the way.
Oh, no. Oh, that was the support page, not that support page.
Yeah.
Right. Memory QVL.
Yeah, so unless the memory QVL is mind-blowingly better on the Gigabyte, I think the MSI
It's optimistically better, but it is dramatic. It is better because it's got multiple kits at 6400 and 6200, whereas the other
the
one
Gigabyte does, or the
the Gigabyte does.
Yeah.
Whereas the MSI tapped out at 6000. And whilst you're not going to be running those kits in those boards, certainly not on the PC you're selling to someone, it just is that thing of you can slap a 6000 kit in there, and it will work QVO or no.
Yeah.
Is kind of the assumption on that front.
Yeah.
But like the QVO on this one does a couple of 6200s, lots of 6000s. So also this is this ASRock, and this ASRock's 120 quid.
Gigabyte has BIOS flashback, which once it's a built PC doesn't matter. BIOS flashback only matters if you don't have a compatible CPU.
Wow, that's
in my opinion.
good value though.
So yeah, what's good?
132 quid for that ASRock.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, that's A620. Sorry, 128 quid for the B650 one that we were looking at.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, that's very good. Yeah.
£128.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Yeah. Graham, you're looking at micro ATX from the wrong perspective. Look at it as a move from ITX, where you have triple or quad slot GPUs.
What? Why'd I look at it and move from ITX when I'm buying ATX? I don't understand.
Yeah, look at it as a move from ITX, where you have triple or quad slot GPUs. You suddenly have... I mean, what's your point? That it basically means you have something that's ITX style, but now you can put a big graphics card in there. But you can't unless you have a specialist case. And if you're building in a specialist case, then you can just build ITX and go really small. Because once you're going ITX, you're probably going to build in a specialist case that has a specific, that is specifically designed around having a big graphics card in it. So, and yeah, like if you're building in a micro ATX case, you can't use a 3 or 4 slot graphics card because it will have nowhere to breathe. So yeah, I don't think that helps, if I'm honest. Yeah.
I wonder, is this any good? Oh, that looks kind of funky.
You can't vertically mount your GPU in a micro ATX case either. You probably can in some, but yeah, no, I see what you mean. And like, I'm kind of interested in vertical mount GPUs at the moment because with how big and heavy modern GPUs are, I'm becoming very interested in vertical mounts.
That looks kind of good.
So yeah. Are you looking at that ASRock board?
Yeah.
Yeah. Would we run a 7800 X3D in it? Or are you just theorizing at the moment? That I think that this might be a really good one to come back to for like
7800, certainly.
Yeah. What's the VRMs on it like?
Approximately that. So a decent number of power stages in there.
Oh yeah, yeah. It has some VRM, yeah. Fair enough.
But interesting. The
Noah
USB
says,
is
why not use
underwhelming.
AI? That's a terrible idea, Noah.
What?
Using ChatGPT to spec this computer. I mean, we could do that and then laugh at how terrible its decisions are. But yeah, because its decisions are going to have zero account for what current prices are or subtleties. But yeah, like it might give you launching off points, but the only practical use of that will be as a lesson in this is why you don't use ChatGPT to spec your PC. Because it's going to be like, hey, you could use this board. And it's like, no, that's an awful idea. Right.
But what are we going for? Are we going to go for the
Anyway,
MSI,
right. Yeah, I vote we
MSI
go...
Pro B650p Wi-Fi?
Okay, so hypothetically, yeah. So what was the ASRock that you were just looking at then? Because that was like 130. Why are we not picking that one then?
Only because it's micro ATX.
Oh, it's micro. Okay, yeah, no.
It's all these micro ATX ones.
Yeah.
It also doesn't have Wi-Fi, whether that matters or not.
Yeah. See, that's interesting. See, yeah, like we could put a micro ATX board in a full ATX.
To get Wi-Fi, yeah, you need to go to 143.
Yeah. So like you could put a micro ATX board in an ATX case, and then you get then you can have the cheap micro ATX board, but still have room for the big graphics card. So like just saying that's an option. However, so that is where micro ATX would make sense to an extent, is that we can buy the cheap motherboard and put it in a bigger case, so it's got room for a big graphics card. But yeah, also though, I just don't really like doing that. I would wager that the I/O on the micro one would be questionable as well. Like hypothetically, let's do a shootout between the MSI and the ASRock, and like, does it have front USB Type-C? You know, and stuff like that. You know, what's the catch here? What are we losing if we do this, other than it looking like a dorky board kind of thing? This is a gaming PC, Raider, that we're building. But also, we're kind of very broadly talking about just speccing in general right now. Right. So, I don't... Oh, it has got front... Yeah, it's got front Type-C.
Yeah,
front
USB
Type-C
3
and
and
USB 3.
Type-C.
Yeah. Well, that's an interesting question then. Why shouldn't we use that board? What's the VRMs on it look like? Oh, we asked this question already, and it was a matter of they look fine. Yeah.
Yeah, there's certainly enough stages in there.
Yeah, like apart from the fact that it'll look a bit dorky in an ATX case, that's a good-looking board. What's the rear I/O on it look like? This was the one that Rurutu was talking about. Yeah.
Similar. The only problem is it's only got...
Oh, that's a lot of USB 2. Oh, yeah. What the hell? Is that only one USB? Oh, yeah, no, the ones on the right.
One 10 gig there.
7 plus 1, yeah.
And two 5 gigs there.
For a moment, I didn't see the two 5 gigs on the right, and I was like, does that only have a single USB 3 port? Yeah, I don't like the rear I/O. 3 USB 3 ports isn't much. So that's a tough... I don't like the rear I/O on it. It's not terrible, but I think it's worth paying a bit more for a full-size board that has the full-size rear I/O and Wi-Fi on it. However, yeah, that's a viable option. I do agree with that. You could do a micro ATX fractal pop. You could, yeah, you could. And the fractal pop, because it has a vented lower panel, the airflow on it will be fine. I don't know, something inside me is rebelling against that. But on the other hand, though, hypothetically, I can't give you a good reason why it's a bad idea. I just don't like it.
You've also got better USB on the ATX one, the MSI Pro B650p.
Yeah.
And so you've got 4 3.2 Gen 1, which is 5 gigabit, and apparently 3 10 gigabit.
Yeah, I think it's a better option all around. So yeah, I think yeah, let's go with the MSI motherboard then.
Yeah.
So we're adding that.
Oh yeah. 4 5 gigabit, 3 10 gigabit. Hopefully a 20 gigabit Type-C.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, hypothetically, just double checking, but is that a BIOS flashback button or a CMOS reset button? Is there any information on that? It's hard to tell when it's not labelled.
Ah.
I think it's, yeah. JD says it's flashback. Oh, there we go. So it does have BIOS flashback. That solves that one then. So yeah. Did we pick the case? We haven't done the case yet. I'm going to be looking for an answer on that because we're looking for a specific type of case.
7 BIOS flashback button.
Nice. Yeah. Oh, there you go then. That solves that one then. Cool. Send it. Let's use that one. All right. So we've got 7800X3D and that motherboard. So RAM. Faster USB is nice to have, but apart from external drives, it's overkill for mouse and keyboard. Yeah, but that's the thing, is if you're paying a bit extra to have the bandwidth available to you, why not? You know, especially because it is becoming more common. Like, it is becoming more common for a lot of peripherals to want USB 3. And like the thing to remember is like we're not building a budget PC here. We're building a mid-range. So, you know, we don't need to scrape out every feature that's not critical. If we were trying to build down to absolute minimum viable, I would agree. I would say that the ASRock would definitely be the one for a minimum viable gaming PC. But we've got the budget to spend more. So, yeah. All right, so we're going to be looking 32 gig kits because, as aforementioned, there's basically no point in buying 16 gig DDR5 kits. Although, I mean, is that just simply because 32 gig kits are like £10 more? Or is it because the 16 gig kits all
There's
suck?
Also, if I remember correctly, effectively the 8 gig modules, so the 16 gig kits have half the channels. Because effectively, each DDR5 module
is dual channel
at 16 gigabyte and above has 2 channels.
Yeah.
And the 8 gig ones are single channel, effectively.
Right.
So it's just a case of that does impact on performance.
Okay, yeah. So you're actually you're losing performance on a 16 gig kit, and given the fact of like 16 gigs is fine for most people at the moment on a gaming rig, but 32 gigs is not a terrible idea, especially because if you're going to do any kind of content creation like streaming or something like that, you're going to want 32 gigs these days. It is, if you're streaming AAA games, it's very easy to cap out of 16 gigs. So like in an ideal world, you need like 20 or 24 gigs, but obviously that's not a decent denomination. So if you're building with DDR5, a 32 gig kit is basically a no-brainer, especially because like, yeah, here we're seeing
it's £20.
Yeah, it's £73, and then it's for 90 quid you can get into 32 gig kits. So yeah, basically it's a no-brainer to go 32 gigs right now. So yeah, very good. So right, so we're going to look at 32 gig kits, and we'll come back to the cooler in a minute. Fire phone. We'll talk about those when we get there in a moment. So yeah, we just added something in for the sake of it. So what have we got there? 6000 CL36 kit. Oh, that's not bad, yeah. And for £93, oh, that's pretty good, yeah. That was over £100 when I looked at it the other day. Like 105 or something, so it's come down a bit. So that's good. Cool, okay, so, well, let's talk about CPU cooling then. So, Liquid Freezer 2, best AIO on the market. So if we're not... So Firephone says, why are you pushing AIOs in your builds? Because AIOs are nice, and they move all of the weight off the CPU socket, and they look
also
clean.
Because they give better cooling than air
Yeah,
coolers.
they are just objectively better.
And if I'm spending £400 on a CPU,
yeah, so
I want all the performance of the CPU.
Yeah, so the question then arises, let's say we want to use an air cooler then.
Ow.
I think that one is broken. Sad face, because it was cool, but the bit broke off.
No.
Yeah, no, it's definitely killed.
Unfortunately, that has had it.
So what air coolers could we use then? So
Deep Cool AK620.
Yeah, I was going to say
Deep
Cool.
Rock, Dark Rock Pro 4.
Yeah, Dark Rock Pro and the Deep Cool stuff seems to be the hotness right now.
Thermal Right, whatever the big peerless assassin is, I think.
So how much are these then? So the Deep Cool is the new hotness. Yeah.
So £78 for the Dark Rock Pro 4.
Yeah. So £78. Be quite a fairly expensive though. So yeah.
60 quid for an AK620. I don't know if the AK620 is quite good enough.
Really?
I can't actually remember how well it performs. I know it does okay, but also I can't remember.
This is we are looking at a 7800 X3D as well. So there's, that's a single CCX that we've got to cool, which is always a problem. So yeah, you'd probably get away with it, but might be able to find some extra performance from a bigger cooler there. So then the Thermalright Assassins.
I can't remember if that is it. No, it's not Thermalright ones.
You're thinking of the Scythe Mugen or something like that?
Oh, that was it. It was the Scythe one. I can't. What is the?
Maybe it's the Mugen. Apparently, the 620 can do 220 watts TDP. So yeah, those air coolers are huge. That's why I don't like them. Because that's the problem with. By the time you've got an air cooler that's big enough, it occupies most of the internal of the computer. Now, here comes the I don't care what it looks like brigade. If you don't care what it looks like,
then
by all
get
means,
an Arctic liquid freezer too.
Wow. True, but still, yeah. If you don't care what it looks like, then fine. Put a big air cooler in. But if you're actually trying to build for aesthetics as well, air coolers are just not pretty. This is just a fact. They cover up the interior of the PC. The interior of your computer basically becomes big radiator instead of circuit boards. So, yeah, that's a thing. It is a consideration. It's also that moving computers around with big air coolers in is questionable. Like Scotty Doggy just said, hate the idea of having a kilogram of copper and aluminium hanging off the board. It's like, yeah, that's always my issue. This is why I originally liked all-in-one coolers, because they move all of the bulk and weight to the chassis, which I think is a very good option. So air coolers are quieter, no pump noise. That depends on what system you're running. If you can hear your pump, there's something wrong with it. But yeah. Paying motherboards stupidly expensive because they want them to make them pretty. Yeah, don't get me wrong, there is a lot of times where people are spending money to make something pretty that isn't helpful. So I'm not saying that aesthetic is always a justification, but it's just something to keep in mind. How often do you move your computers there? Well, I don't know, but what if... see, that's a valid point. But, what about when I sell this computer, I give it to the customer, and they drive home with it, and the computer gets transported then? What if he gets it home and it doesn't work? It's just... I know I'm grasping at straws, but you understand that this is a consideration. If we're tallying up a list of pros and cons, Now, I'm not saying that we should go with an AIO. That's why we're looking at air coolers. It's like, okay, well, what are the other options then? Because, the Dark Rock Pro is nearly 80 quid. And for that money, you may as well buy a liquid freezer. Because for an extra 20 quid, you can have the best there is.
LT720.
Or one of the best there is. I say immediately looking at the screen saying another one is the best there is, but yeah.
Damn, 125 quid. All right, I'll take that. Also, I just love the CPU block on this.
Yeah. Is that the one that that Night Fusion has? I think it is, isn't it?
Not sure.
Yeah, I think he's got one of the deep cool ones. That looks cool. That looks really cool.
How awesome does that look though? It's static, obviously.
Yeah.
But
even still, that looks cool. And I don't care. I build boutique PCs. I like them when they look pretty. Fight me.
Yeah.
I like stuff that looks pretty, and I'm willing to pay more for stuff that looks pretty, and my customers are willing to pay more for stuff that looks pretty. So, yeah.
And it sure as hell looks better than a Liquid Freezer 2.
Yeah. Bless his cotton socks, the Liquid Freezer 2 is not a pretty water cooler.
No.
Okay. No, so we could pick an air cooler that's going to be 50 quid cheaper than this. And considering we reckon we're not going to fit a 7800X3D into the budget for this particular client. So hypothetically, I think we should stick an air cooler on this because it knocks 50 quid off the budget. And I think we're going to come in over budget at the moment. But the other thing as well is that I think the customer is going to want a water cooler because of the style of case that they are looking for. Because, spoiler alerts, the customer wants a they want a Lianli O11 Dynamic style case. So glass front and side panel, basically. So we're looking at a O11D, height Y40, whatever that NZXT1 is, that kind of case.
Ah, nice. PC Part Picker promo code for free delivery.
Oh, neat. That's very cool. So,
and then what was that? That was a H170i Elite. H170i.
You need to change liquid. No, you don't.
Oh, the H170i.
I've got water coolers in here that are like you've seen us replace the top up water coolers in here and stuff like that, but all of the ones all of the AIOs you've seen Caradog and I working on are like 6 or 7 years old. Easy. You know, we have not been having to maintain modern liquid coolers. They last the lifetime of the expected lifetime of the cooler. And I mean, if you want to buy a CPU cooler that will last you 10 years, then power to you. But it's not something you need to take into consideration, basically.
That price.
Oh my god, the Corsair IQ coolers are they're not priced in any sane way.
Yeah.
I've massively gone off of I loved Corsair AIOs.
230.
Yeah. Even then, like just 230 quid just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I presume that this will be the same performance. I presume that the H170i Elite LCD XT will have the same performance as the Elite Capel XT.
Probably, yeah.
And that the price difference is obviously just in the LCD.
Yeah, I think these prices are ridiculous.
Because also separately, I think the prices are ridiculous because 1.3%, but 1.3% better performance, £125.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing as well is the LCD is neat, I guess, but also we know that it's nonsense because remember that the NZXT Kraken Z series, which has an LCD on, I know because I have one at home, was like £170. It doesn't cost that much to put an LCD on the front. If you want to go top pimp and have a water cooler with an LCD on it, which is cool because it displays your temperatures and stuff like that, I think it looks pimp as hell, but it's not worth as much as what Corsair are asking for.
That's
so yeah.
Cool. I didn't realise that Orbit allowed you to collect from them.
Where are they based?
They are based northeast. They are based Newcastle upon Tyne, which puts them.
Well, I will not be driving up there to collect with the nicest possible way.
No,
However,
absolutely. It was more a comment of just, that's cool. But if someone else does collection. Scan does collection. They do collection.
It's nice to have. If you're actually in the area, then yeah, you can go and get it. So that is cool. I've never heard of Orbit until now. Have they been popping up? Have they? Or
I've seen them around for a while. Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah. Neato.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's good. Yeah, free delivery over 75 quid.
Yeah.
Neat.
You can get the 420 Arctic freezer for 109. Yeah, 420 is big though. You're going to need to put that in a big case. If we were going with a big case, that would certainly be on the tables. But we're looking for a mid tower case.
Ooh. And there's a white version of the deep cool. That's good if you're doing a white build.
Yeah.
Nice.
I really like that deep cool.
Let us remove you.
Yeah.
What's that take us to for that base?
Yeah, where are we up to?
800
801.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We're at peak budget and we don't even have a case and a power supply. Ouch.
Yeah, because £400 of it is on this CPU.
Yeah. A very naive part of me thought that we could glass cannon this, but it's just like, no. Should we keep...
I mean, could do, because we could do.
But, yeah.
Like, it would be a crap computer.
Yeah. It would be glass cannon in the literal sense of it's in a biscuit tin, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah. Should we keep going with the 7800X 3D? Or should we keep going with this build just out of interest's sake? Like, if we built a really nice 7800X 3D computer, what would that look like?
Yeah.
Or should we pivot?
No, well, we can continue on this one.
Yeah, okay.
Fine.
We'll continue on this one. However, I think we've established that...
boy, that's cheap.
Because, like, even if we drop to an air cooler, like, we could probably find an air cooler that's good enough for 50 quid. However, that gets us down to, like, 750, and we still don't have a case or a power supply. And the case and the power supply is going to cost us another £200. So, yeah, the 7800X 3D for less than £800 is not doable in any possible universe. So,
sorry, what? Crucial P3, 1 terabyte, £35.
what? Yeah.
Anyone who builds a computer without an SSD is wrong.
Yeah. I can't. How low can they go? Because, like, we didn't see M.2 SATA SSDs go this low because just the construction costs of just putting it in a box and everything was keeping the prices up. But with an NVMe M.2 drive, it's just a circuit board. So they can just keep grinding the price down. As long as NAND keeps coming down, SSD prices are nuts. And I'm living for this right now. And I'm like...
Intel 6700P, 2 terabyte, 70 quid.
2 terabytes for 70 quid. Yeah.
A-Data Legend, 2 terabyte, 80 quid. Lexar NM620, 2 terabyte, 70 quid.
Yeah. I need to put a couple of NVMEs in that system. Because, like, this is all hard drive. This, apart from its boot SSD, it's all hard drives in the data backup rig, and I'm just like, I think the time has come to actually just stick SSDs in it because they're so cheap now that it is just a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
That's wild.
Yeah. Very well. Okay, so yeah, so let's stick a 1 terabyte P3 in there now for the lols. Like, if you're building this PC, you're going to put in, well, no, let's put in a 2 terabyte then, because like we've
4 terabyte P3, 170 quid.
I don't need it. 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 Anyway, stick the 2 terabyte in there because we're doing a balanced build now. You know, the £800, the £800 budget is out the window. So we're doing, let's do something that makes sense for the spec that we're building to then.
Yeah.
So yeah, because 2 terabytes is fine. And if you want more than that, then sure, you pay a bit extra. But, you know, as a headliner thing, 2 terabytes is what you're going to go for. So, all right, so that's the 11.
That's the 11 Dynamic Mini, which is full ATX still.
Yeah, how much is that these days?
The Mini is 115 quid.
That's pretty good. So that's valid. Now, did Lianli have a newer version? Because did Lianli make a new version that had like the diagonal bit down the side, or am I imagining that? Or is the 011 still their mainstream one?
The Dynamic 11 Evo?
Yeah, no, that's just again a newer version. Yeah. White version to go with the motherboard. Could do. Yeah. Doesn't really matter which we pick at the moment, just simply because like black and white, that's kind of a decision that you're going to make at the moment when you add it to the cart, I think. So yeah. Let's see.
And then you've got the Air, which is the only other design I can think of right now.
Yeah. Okay. So just for reference, could you look up the height? That's HYTE Y40.
It's a bad case. You want the Y60.
Oh, is the Y40? Why is the Y40 bad?
Apparently, it's got massive airflow problems, according to GM. Because,
Really?
and also apparently the materials are just,
Oh, that's disappointing.
apparently, to the point that they would not advertise it.
Ah.
But they would advertise the Y60.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. However, the Y60 is £200, which is quite a lot for a computer case. For £200, I expect the case to be spectacular. So yeah. Okay, fine. So what about?
Oh my god, the 215 is 90 quid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. They're trying to get rid of the 215s. Yeah.
216 is 100. Oh, okay.
Hypothetically, Techwear VXR.
Sorry.
Techwear VXR. That's TEC Wear.
VXR. No. TEC WAR
E. Yeah.
V.
VXR. I see.
I see. Gundes Tiger. Images.
Techwear is meh. Yeah, I'm expecting it to be. Just someone mentioned it. I'm like, well, let's have a look.
Oh, that's kind of cool. Yeah, for 80 quid.
Yeah, for 80 quid. Yeah, if you like, it's going to be the standard Chinese build quality. Yeah, you can see it from here. You can see it from here. That's going to be standard Chinese build quality. So it's a biscuit tin, but it's a very pretty biscuit tin. Oh, look at that! That top I/O is a deal breaker. That's horrid.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
That one's really recessed.
Is this the same case? Like, look at the front panel there. Oh, okay. You're looking at two different cases there. These pictures are nonsense.
What?
Yeah. Okay, go back to the left one. That's the one that we're looking at.
Yeah, that's the real one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's okay. But yeah, it's going to be the standard Chinesian build quality. And if you're on a budget, this is fine.
It's got forefront USB though, which is interesting.
Uncommon, yeah. If you're on a budget, then this is a great option. However, if you're building, again, if we're building if you're building a glass cannon, this is what you buy. However, we're looking for a premium brand here, so that's a no-no.
But 80
have
quid.
Montech. Oh yeah, Montech. Have Montech got a case in this style? Exclusive chat for the list of clones. Okay, hold on. I'll have a.
Yeah, I was going to say if you wouldn't mind pulling that up.
Yeah. Discord. Howling at the moon. All right.
What?
Got a DM from Carol Brody. Oh yeah, that was the thing that I asked him to send to me. Very well. Fair enough.
That is a case.
Cool man, Robin 2.
Robbing 2.
Robin 2,
Oh.
like the bird. Oh yeah, the NZXT H9. I want to know how much that costs. Yeah, I don't really care. To be honest, I'm not super fussed about the no brand ones because we know the build quality on them is going to be trash. There was a problem loading this. Fair enough. Yeah. Tell me about the NZXT H9 Flow. Because that was the one that I really wanted to look at.
Oh boy. That is some sickly RGB though.
Yeah. Rainbow Vomit is test mode. If you set that to a nice color scheme, it'll look amazing. Everyone looks at that and goes, Rainbow Vomit RGB, and I'm like, you're not supposed to run it on Rainbow Vomit mode.
The H9,
that's demo mode.
181 quid.
180. Okay, so it's expensive, but it's still cheaper than the height. Yeah. So
that's cool.
Yeah, I like this case.
Look at that RGB, isn't that lovely?
Yeah.
See?
And it's actual edge-to-edge glass as well. You know, this is a serious contender, this cool. one. It is 180 quid, which is at the top end of the spectrum, but then also this is a flagship case, so I expect to pay 180
Two
quid.
Type A's and a Type C.
Yeah. So
that's good.
This one is a super high-end contender. Again, if we were on that £800 budget, no, not sure it's going to
interesting.
happen.
If stock arrives, though, it could go lower by about 15 quid.
That's not bad, yeah.
So that obviously makes this reasonably attractive.
Hmm.
And then there's Newegg at £377.
Yeah, you're dreaming, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, pre-revenue, hoping for an Antec rebound to glory. Are Antecs still alive? Serious question. Can you go to just like the Antec website and just see?
Oh yeah. They make the NX410,
don't
they?
Yeah.
The NX410 is actually a really good case.
This was a case that I wanted to get hold of at some point. Yeah.
You should message them and be, I have a YouTube channel with 160,000 subscribers.
Yeah, I could do, because I'm getting back into the case reviews.
Yeah.
Because like after doing the review of the whatever that case is that I reviewed,
the Fractal Pop Air.
That one. After doing that one video, you know, I actually
am a professional now. I have done a video.
Well, that was the first case review I've done in a hot minute, and there were a lot of comments from people saying, "Glad to see you doing this kind of content again." And like, I didn't overthink it. I just told people what I thought of the case, built a computer in the case, and said, "There you go. Make up your own mind." You know, and I just smashed it out. And I'm like, I should get back into doing this again.
That's a lot of money, Antec. I do not want to spend £93 on that.
No, that doesn't look like.
I would have bought that for 60 quid or 70 quid.
Yeah, 60 or 70 quid maybe. Pushing 100.
No. 50. Whoa, this is £55.
That's more like it.
That's not bad.
This is the problem that a lot of case manufacturers need to realise is that
that looks like older tooling for this design, but
yeah.
And that looks like it's a similar size to the... What the hell is that case?
Oh, the 220T.
220T.
Maybe, yeah.
It looks to be the same age as the 220T.
Looking at the tooling on that case and that it'll be a plastic front panel, I think that's going to... Can you get a shot of the top I/O on that? I think that the actual build quality of this is going to be comparable to a Chinese case. However, it's priced at that point as well.
Yeah.
But at least then you're getting... At least at that point, you're getting a case that has a prestigious brand name on it. Like, Antec is still a cool brand name, I think. Well, people who know who Antec is know that Antec is cool. That looks all right. That looks not terrible.
Those USB ports look entirely non-functional, though. I'm hoping that's just an image issue.
Yeah, I mean the LEDs don't look great on it. Yeah, no, it's going to be Chinese build quality and materials, but at least you get a prestigious brand name on it, you know, instead of like Hellcrack. So, Turnip Gaming, thank you for the £5, my dude. Those 2TB M2 SSDs are definitely cheaper than the one you purchased 6 months ago. They are indeed.
Oh, what? The front USB is 2 Type 2 and 1 Type 3. Oh, I am now disappointed.
This is the problem with the Chinese cases, that they do stuff like that.
What the absolute fresh fuck?
It's a Chinese case with Antec written on it.
Oh, that's disappointing. Yeah. Like, if that had...
My opinion is plummeting.
If that had been 4 front USB, so 2 USB 3, 2 USB 2, I could have understood it. Or just 2 USB 3.
I don't understand why they still have USB 2 on them. A while back I asked this question and there were a bunch of people in like the comments and stuff who were just like, oh, in poorer countries we have older computers. I'm like, you have stuff that's so old it doesn't have front USB 3? Front USB 3 has been a thing for the past decade. Unless
you were AMD.
No.
Because AM3, only the later boards had it, didn't they?
No.
I thought the 660FX, 760FX boards didn't have USB.
My Phenom 2 had front USB 3.
Yeah, but I thought Bulldozer then didn't. I thought they fucked up the boards that hard.
We're still talking about like 2011 when I built my Phenom 2.
Yeah.
And I had front USB 3. I know because I modified my Cooler Master with front USB 3 ports to match. So,
Oh, yeah.
so it's just like if you're building a brand new computer, if you're building a computer in a brand new case and you don't have front USB 3, that means you're using internal components that are more than 10 years old.
Yeah.
Why should we be catering to that?
Yeah.
If your computer is that terrible, then it just doesn't have front USB. Or you use an adapter.
Yeah.
You know, because you can adapt front USB 3 to a USB 2 header and just lose the performance. So it's just like, why are they making cases with front USB 2? Anyway, Montech. Yeah, we should see what Montech have. Yeah, oh, Antec, I want to love you, but I'm not seeing anything. I like the visual styling of those NX cases, but I think if I saw one in real life, I would be like, oh, I wish it was better.
What, the NX 410?
Yeah, I think the NX 410 looks really nice, but I think if we actually took one out the box and put it on the desk now, we'd be like, oh, it's just another Chinese case.
That doesn't look terrible. The AX61 Elite either. That looks kind of... It looks like they kind of tried to do some design work on it. Again, it's a Chinese case from the look of it, but
that's the problem.
Some design work's been done there, and I'm just like, for £55, £58, that's entirely acceptable. If you're building a £600
as a budget case,
as
a budget case, these things are fine, but I don't think they're worth considering if you're building a premium.
What is it?
A premium PC.
Functionally £1,000 plus computer.
Yeah,
they are not relevant.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
Let's start that again.
Fair enough.
Are we
Montech.
sticking in the H9?
Montech. What have Montech got?
Tech. Apparently, the only two that are in stock in the UK. Oh no, there you go. The only three are the Sky 2 in various versions.
Fair enough. Hypothetically, do they have a one in that style? Just about. Yeah. It's got the front glass and the side intake, which is fundamentally it. If anything, it's nice and narrow. So yeah. How much was that? What was the name of that one at the top that we just looked at?
Una Moment. The Sky 2, and it's 150 quid. 145 quid.
Yeah, show us the details on that. Like, it's out of stock, so we couldn't buy it right now, but, like, what if?
Montech Sky 2 White.
Thumbs down for the Montech. What's wrong with the Montech, Legonberry?
At this price point, I wouldn't say yes. If it was like 30 quid cheaper, I'd consider it, but not for £150.
Their website is loading incredibly slowly, which isn't a good sign. That looks really nice, I think. I like the Montech badge in there. I think that's quite tasteful. I like the vented PSU enclosure. Big air cooler blocking the entire view. Just throwing shade there. Oh, I'm choking on my own words now. Yeah. Montech is too expensive. Excuse me. Bottom chamber is not what the customer wants. Oh, yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah. Yeah, that's what's wrong with it. You're right. I was looking at that. I'm like, is that what we're looking for? It's got the front glass on it, but you're right. It's the bottom chamber. Yeah.
It's also just too expensive.
Yeah, because
£145.
Yeah, fundamentally, that's just an ATX case with front glass on it. That's all it is. So, yeah. No, agreed.
Because given I can get an 011 Dynamic Mini for £95.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Given my option is that for £95, I'd rather have this for £95 than that for £145. So I'm saving £50.
The 011 is getting really cheap because it's been around since the dawn of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What about the... Okay, going back to the list, what about the Fantex NV7? That's the last one on the list that I have heard of.
7?
Yeah, NV7, yeah.
200 quid.
Ooh, it's expensive, but... Oh, that looks like a big boy. I think this is going to be one of Fantex...
Yeah, it's ATX full tower.
Oh, yeah, this is... Yeah, this is one of Fantech's...
It's very big because it's got 2 rear fans plus 8.
I tell you what this looks like to me. This looks like the Enthoo Pro if it didn't suck.
What's wrong with the Enthoo?
It's a horrible case, and I hate it.
There'll be at least 7 people in the comments who will be extremely dissatisfied.
I just don't... It's ugly. There we go. That's my excuse. I think the Enthoo Pro is ugly. That's an Enthoo Pro if it was pretty. And the reason why you would want it is that there's room to put a tiny little ITX computer in there. So if you're a streamer nerd who wants a dedicated stream PC, you can have your gaming rig and a stream PC in the same case, which I think is a terrible idea. But if you're that kind of guy, then you can do it.
But look, it hasn't got a side panel, see-through side panel. Improvement.
It's just got so much wasted space inside it.
4 optical drives.
It's just, yeah, like it's like I think the optical bays are the only reason why this case needs to exist. If you don't,
all these hard drives. Look at them all.
look, I know you're lying now because I know you're a big believer in stop putting 10,000 hard drives into your PC and just buy good hard drives kind of person.
Oh, absolutely. But also when you need, 16 zettabytes of storage.
Let's see. Reckonair UK says he picked up a Sky 2 for 80 quid 2 months ago from CCL. Maybe the price has skyrocketed because it's out of stock.
Perhaps. What was that?
Is there any price history on that? Yeah, Sky 2. Yeah, they got price history on that. Because yeah, like the Sky 2 for sub £100, that'd be a good price.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Oh wow, yeah. Yeah, good. Yeah, who was that again? That was Reckonair. Yeah, good shout.
Oh yeah.
Very good shout.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah. For 80 quid, I think that's a good buy. Again, not necessarily what the customer's looking for, although I would present it as an option. Well, I'm not going to present it as an option because you can't buy it.
Blue.
Blue? Oh, that looks pretty. I love that colour. That's really pretty.
And the blue did exist at £76.
Yeah.
However, that was June.
Yeah. Adam Williams says he's got an Enthoo 2 Pro with a 420 radiator. Yeah, if you want a big radiator, that's another reason for it to exist.
I am
I'll give you that one.
Sad as to how ugly the Nitro Plus 7900 XTX is. Completely off topic, but given how good the 6950 Nitro Plus Special Edition looked, I am sad.
GameMax Infinity, apparently, is an 011 dynamic clone, but that costs 70 quid.
Yeah,
so at any rate, that Sky 2, yeah, for 80 quid, I think the Sky 2 is a cracking purchase. I would definitely say that that's viable at that price.
Oh, that's 1X.
Assuming you want that style of case, because one of the problems that we need to acknowledge, like the elephant in the room, is that the Corsair 4000D Airflow is 80 quid, and that's a really nice case.
Huh.
And that's the problem with that's why like those Antec cases costing £97, that's why that's an instant game over, because the Corsair 4000D Airflow is like £80. And you got yourselves a Corsair for that money. So yeah.
Do you say Game Max?
Yeah, Game Max Infinity apparently.
It is not on this list. That is unfortunate.
Apparently it's on Amazon.
Game Max Infinity.
Yeah. Well, again, Chinese case, so the build quality won't be there. But wow, that really does look like an 011, doesn't it?
£70.55.
Yeah, yeah. Like this has got borders around the windows and stuff, so it's an older style. Although I think the 011D does as well. But yeah, for 70 quid, that's not bad. If you're on a budget and you really want an 011, that's not. But then the 011 is, what was it, £100?
90.
Yeah, when the 011 wasn't when the O11 was like 150 to 200 pounds, this would have made sense. But now you can spend an extra 20 quid and have the real thing. However, that's not bad. That's a pretty good knockoff.
I'm not sure quite what those power cables are.
Yeah, those are. Oh my! Look, you can. Oh, it's a side-on view of the graphics card photoshopped in. If you look at that graphics card power connector, that's just if you were looking directly into the side of the computer and it's coming across. I love photoshops like this.
And then look at the Photoshop job on the fans.
Hang on, let me just remove us from view a moment. Yeah, that's slightly better because at least they're at the right angle. That's still very funny though. That power cable is very, very amusing. Anyway, 70 quid, that's not bad, but the problem is with the O11 existing at £100, it's dead in the water. So, Orun says, how come you can get 4 times 1 terabyte Crucial P3 drives for 30 quid less than the 4 terabyte version? Just because of scaling. Like, 4 terabyte SSDs are just past the bang for buck point on the price curve. So, yeah. 2 terabytes is probably the price sweet spot. That's probably the best value for money right now, if you run the numbers. And 4 terabytes is just past that point in the curve. Let's see. You moved from an O11 OG to a 5000D and you miss the O11 every day. Yeah, I got a love-hate relationship with the O11. I like it, but nah. 2 times 200 mil RGB fans. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I think I've got I've got the Game Max Hawk. I can't remember what it is, which is out the back, which has got the 200 mil fans on it. It was the last review I did for GameMax when I was working with them. But that was the time when I was kind of going off doing case reviews. But also, like, no offense, GameMax, but I kind of went off doing case reviews because all of the offers that I was getting were all just the Chinese cases, that they were just all the same. They had slightly different front panel designs, so it was either like triple 120s or 200s or something like that. But the insides, the support, the top panel quality, they were just all the same, and it was boring. There was nothing about them that made me go, "This is interesting." That's why I stopped doing case reviews, is that they were just all the same, and I was like, I've got nothing to talk about, you know. So, The 216 is the case to get currently. Yeah, I want to have a look at a 216 because it really feels like the Land Cool. It really feels like the Land Cool without the expense. Because the Land Cool is a great case, but it's expensive, and it's expensive because it's got double-sided glass and unnecessary things like that. And the 216 is like the Land Cool without the expensive bits. So, all right. What about Be Quiet cases? I'm fairly certain they don't have well, they call them a dual chamber case, but yeah, I'm assuming they don't anyway. That doesn't seem like the kind of thing that Be Quiet would make, because Be Quiet generally do solid panel quiet cases, which is kind of like the opposite of what we're looking for. You don't get the point of the flip doors on the Land Cool. Me either, quite frankly. It was all the rage. For a brief moment in history, it was all the rage to have double-sided tempered glass flip doors. And for the entire period that became trendy, I was looking at it going, I don't understand why that needs to be a thing. And like, don't get me wrong, I'm the same guy that was just like, I want it to look pretty. But like, you don't see the back of the case. There is no installation of your PC where you are looking at the back of it, because you're either having it at a 3/4 view or a side-on view. There is no world in which you are looking at the back side of your PC in anything that makes sense to me. O11 can't fit a 4090 unless you go vertical mount. Yeah, that's not a problem because we're not fitting a 4090. If it can do a vertical mount, that's fine with me because if, like I alluded to earlier on, but I want to do a vertical mount graphics card build because, like with the weight of graphics cards, I think vertical mounting is the future. I keep my PC on the left. I want more inverted cases.
O11,
I think
O11D Evo is invertible.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
You can literally.
Yeah. I think invertible cases are underrated. Yeah, I agree. And I say because I legitimately also would like to have my PC on the left with my current setup. Or, well, I'll rephrase that. The reason why I'm not rearranging my living room right now is because it would require me to put my PC on the left, and I don't want my PC on the left because I won't be able to see it. Otherwise, I would legitimately completely change my living room layout. However, and it might sound strange to not be changing my living room layout just because of my PC, but my living room at home is my desk. So it's just...
That's not true. There's an unplayed bass in there.
Okay, first of all, how dare you? Second of all, there's also the bookshelf. So yeah.
There's also a fridge.
It's true.
And a cooker.
Yeah. Yeah. Sofa went skip. It didn't go to the skip. It went back to the charity shop. I literally called up the charity shop I bought it from and said, "Do you want it back? Like, for free?" And they were like, "Sure." I was like, "It's still in great condition. Just don't use it." All right. Okay. Yeah, be quiet. Have they got any interesting dual chamber cases?
No.
Yeah, just be quiet are for people who don't like pretty PCs. And like I said that in a really I said that in a really condescending way, but like that's literally the reality. If you're the kind of person that wants a PC that is quiet and functional, then Be Quiet is actually right up your street. Because they do really nice cases that are really quiet.
What's wrong with that?
Yeah, they've got side panel case, I guess. But although I tell you what's interesting about that one is it doesn't have smoked glass side panel.
No.
And I really hate smoked glass. So that I think I was being incredibly rude about it there because no smoking on the tempered glass side panel. That's a big positive in my opinion. Be Quiet is people who prefer function over form and don't care what it looks like. Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong, they're brilliant cases. Every time I've built in a Be Quiet, I've been like, this is really nice. It's just not my cup of tea. Smoked glass panels look amazing. Yeah, it's not my cup of tea because you basically have to have all of the RGB in order to see inside. And like I put a glass side panel on my computer so I could look inside it. Whereas as soon as you put smoked glass on it, you can only see the lights in there. And I want the lighting to illuminate the actual circuit boards to look at. That's the purpose of the RGB lighting to me, is to illuminate the circuit boards. I don't want to look at the lights. I want the lights to light up the thing that I want to look at.
Illuminate.
So yeah, illuminates. So yeah, but it is personal preference, you know. People put the side panel on their PCs. Weird. I do because it makes it a lot quieter.
Did JD say that?
No, that was Corm.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
That sounds like a JD statement.
Oh well, yeah, literally two rows later, JD, me with neither of the glass side panels on my PC. So yeah. All right. Got your number. All right, where are we up to in this build? Because we're building a heckin' PC. All right, we've got a power supply. Tell me about the power supply. 84 quid for an 850. That seems good.
It was the cheapest gold, platinum, or titanium power supply of more than 750 watts that I was like, I trust this brand to make a functional power supply.
That looks fine. System power 10. Is that fully modular or is that semi?
I can't even remember. It is probably semi.
It's semi, yeah. That's
Oh
fine.
no, it's probably not modular at all.
Oh, it's wow. Imagine, wow, that's really, yeah. I was going to say, because the system power is the low end series. I'm amazed that's not semi. I don't know how I feel about that. What other options have we got? Can we pay like £10 to get modular?
Well, you can pay
Yes.
that to get the
RM750.
RM750E. That's the next
Yeah.
option.
How much was the
750E, basically.
How much was the 850E there?
The 850X is 140.
Oh, that's a big jump. Yeah, I just, sorry, our face was in the way of the prices then. So I was seeing the 850X directly underneath it.
Yeah,
However,
because it's in a weirdly sorted list right now.
Oh, I see, yeah.
Let me just go Corsair. Gold, platinum, titanium.
Modular cables make it harder to hit the gold rating. Citation needed.
Oh, I keep forgetting there's an RM550X.
Yeah, for some reason, yeah. Yeah, for some reason.
Yeah, because you've got the 750E at £98 and then the 850E at 105. Excuse me. So it's £6. No, I can't do maths. It's £9, basically.
I would take the RM750E because modular. I would pay because 750 watts is fine, and now we've got modular because especially if the Be Quiet was semi-modular, I would take it. However, completely non-modular at 850 watts is going to be awful. Because an 850 watt power supply, you expect that to have lots of to be capable of lots of chains, right? So that means it's going to have like 4 SATA chains hanging off it, and we're not going to need any of them. So you're just going to have 4 SATA chains just stuck there that you can't get rid of, and like extra PCI Express power cables that you don't need, and the extra EPS cable that you don't need. There's going to be so many cables there that you don't need because it's an 850 watt power supply. So it has to have them there, but it's not modular, so you can't detach them. Like, this area is the reason why modular power supplies need to exist. So yeah, I'd take the Corsair on that. Okay, how are we doing here? What's our price at?
Do you want to guess?
I think we're at £1,200. Oh yeah, there we go. Again, our face was in the way. 1160. Okay, and this is with no graphics card, so you know this is kind of going to be an expensive PC if you throw a graphics card into this. We're still, yeah. However, that's a really nice PC. So what kind of graphics card would we pair this up with? I guess that's, I mean, now comes the time. It's a case of, well, how much money you got, isn't it? We're at 1180. If we're spending, how much does, so 1180, let's say, how much does 600 quid get me for a graphics card? I would say we're paying £1,800 for this PC. Otherwise, we're basically building a £2,000 PC right now, aren't we? Is it that bad, is it? 69, 30, what? But it's EVGA, it's rare.
Okay, then you can buy the PMY one.
Oh no.
Or you can get a 6600 XT for £600.
What are these prices?
But no, 4070 or 6950 XT.
So, would you want a 4070 or a 6950 XT? Because the 4070 is current.
6950 XT will probably be a fraction faster.
Yeah, but the 4070 is current gen, which is desirable.
Oh, 3080 10 gig. That's still too much money for that, but a 980, a 16 60 Ti.
Why? Why do these exist? Who is selling them?
No,
Who is selling the
580.
Who is selling that 980? I want to know.
Amazon.
Okay, so someone on Amazon, yeah. The Asus store, apparently.
Pry Trading.
There you go. Anyone want a 980?
Oh dear.
Do you think they actually have it?
I don't know.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? Do they actually have it on hand? Or is this like just a system error?
There's a pallet Super Jetstream there for £703. I've got one just there.
Yeah. Do you reckon we'll fix it one day? Yeah.
Put it on Amazon for £705.
These must be prices from the GPU shortage that they just haven't looked at and adjusted.
I don't know.
But yeah. Okay, right. Right. Okay, so 4070. How much is a 4070 Ti?
Don't know. Where
Well,
are
look
we?
then.
Where are we?
Where are we?
4070 Ti is £758, cheapest.
Okay. And is that for... That's for a palette that doesn't look... Oh, I lied. It does look terrible.
What's wrong with you? What's wrong with this? What's wrong with this?
Well, I guess at least it'll be face down. I wouldn't vertically mount that. I don't care what you say. I think palettes are hideous.
Well, you're wrong.
It shares the same name as a wooden pallet that you would stack crates on. Anyway.
Do you know what my palette cards are? Faster than your GPUs.
I mean, yeah, but anyway. Steve Higgins, you can say to the customer, the good news is we got you a wicked PC. The bad news is we're £1,200 over budget. You know? I mean, no, we're not £1,200 over budget, actually. The budget was 800 quid and we're like 1,200 without graphics card. So technically we're 400 quid over budget, which actually isn't awful and actually begs the question, could you grind that down to 900?
No.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, all right. As soon as I said that, I kind of already knew the answer in my head. It was like, no.
We could get...
You could get 100 quid off the price.
We could get 100 and something out of the price.
Yeah,
because
you could get 100
50
out of it.
quid out just by swapping the cooler to an air cooler.
Yeah, and you could go for a slightly cheaper case.
Save 20 quid out of the RAM.
Yeah,
by going down to 16 gigs.
Yeah, and like the NZX, we've got the NZXT case, and we could just buy an O11. Like the customer wants a case like an O11, so we could just buy them an O11.
Yeah, and you can save £90 on there. So yeah. And you could drop the motherboard to £120 one.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. 7900 XT is not far off that price. How much is a 7900 XT?
Where the hell is video card? There you go.
Palette is a respectable manufacturer that exists since early 2000. I'll concede that Palette have done a good job of making affordable graphics cards for a long time.
Yeah, there you go. I would 200% go for a 7900 XT.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't go for the Speedster, personally. I'd very much go for the Sapphire Pulse.
Yeah.
For the extra £2.
Well, let's stick the Pulse onto the list, just so this list is complete. And this is our 78. This is more or less the...
Why?
I think this is a cracking sub £2,000 7800X 3D PC. I think that's what I would call this. What's that compatibility warning for, just out of interest?
The BIOS for the CPU.
Oh, fine. Yeah, easily solvable.
But
yeah.
It isn't, but also it is. There you go.
What do you mean it isn't?
Because any AM5 board can run the X3D parts. You don't need a BIOS update for it to boot and function. You just need the BIOS update for it to function
so yeah,
well.
it isn't a problem. Yeah.
It isn't a compatibility issue. It is a high performance issue, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
But that is also a lot of £2,000.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, so that's 1,900. Build that for £2,000 to a customer, ish. And yeah, you could scrape off some prices here and there.
I would want to try and grind a couple of prices down just to go from a 750 to an 850.
Yeah, I agree
Now.
with that. Yeah, man, I'm really
Just for an abundance of caution.
I'm really torn as to whether I would take the H9 Flow or the O11D.
I'll take the O11D because it's £90 cheaper.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because like, part of me wants the H9 Flow just because it's far newer. But the O11D is still a cracking nice case, and it's really good bang for buck right now. So yeah, 750 watts is probably near being maxed out there. I mean, what have we got?
At peak will be at 690, 700, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, we're pushing it a bit hard. So yeah, we would want to change it. You'd be okay.
It's still 50 watt less than label wattage.
Yeah.
And it's a Corsair, which means it will do 850.
Yeah.
Which means it will do 1,000 for spikes.
Yeah.
So I would absolutely run that, but it's also a case of, yeah, I'd push an 850 in there by juggling parts.
Yeah. No 360mm rad support in the O11D Mini. Really? Can you not get?
Not in the Mini, no.
Was that the one that we were looking at?
Yeah.
For 100. Yeah.
Yeah, so you'd have to go up to 110-ish, I think, for the other one.
Fair enough.
That is a good point. I hadn't considered that.
Yeah. How much is the O11? Can you type, please? Thank you.
I couldn't remember how it was formatted.
EU800.
Yeah, 117 for the Air, which is the one you'd arguably get these days. Or the old Dynamic is.
I wouldn't buy the O11 Air. If you're buying the O11 Air, I'm just like, just buy a bog standard ATX case. Like, the point of a dual chamber case is to have that front glass panel, because the dual chamber design is what means that you can get away with having a solid front panel. Because a solid front panel on an ATX case kills the airflow. So the point of the dual chamber is to regain that airflow. And I think the O11 Air completely negates the point of its own existence, in my opinion.
Then you're looking at 150.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm sure there's someone out there who likes the O11 Air, just aesthetically, and cases are very, very subjective as well. You know, if there's people out there that like the Enthoo Pro, and you know what, power to you. If that's what you think looks cool, then that's fine. But I don't like it. I think design-wise it looks fine, but for me, I'm just like, I'd rather just take an ATX case that's 2 inches narrower. So yeah, the 4000D has got a front glass option. Yeah. But again...
Not see-through.
Yeah, I think it does.
Because you've got fans in the way.
Oh, yes, that's true. Yeah, you'd have fans there. Yeah. Yeah. The Air is fugly. The Air is definitely a choice. I wouldn't call it ugly, but you've definitely got to be a fan of that design, I think. You'd rather have a Fractal North. I have to admit, I keep thinking about the Fractal North. I'm like the Akira meme with the Fractal North, where you know, the voices in my head are like, you should buy a Fractal North for your PC at home, and I'm like, no, I have a Fractal Torrent. I don't need a North. Get out of my head. Hmm.
140 quid for the
The park bench of PCs. Yeah, it's a classy bench though.
£119 for the solid panel one. I'd take that for the compact.
Yeah, the Torrent is still expensive. It always has been. I think the Torrent is too expensive. But Fractal are a boutique PC. Fractal are a boutique brand. You're going to pay for the badge.
Certainly when there's a £203 option, yes.
Yeah, because the thing is just they have very unique cases. And I really like Fractal as a brand. I like modern Fractal. I don't like old Fractal. I don't like the Spud Nugget Fractal. Because those are just old style cases in my opinion. But I like modern Fractal, who are making stuff like the Torrent and the North and stuff like that, because they're boutique PC cases, which I think is Fractal's real strong point, because they're making strikingly interesting cases that are expensive but have very unique looks to them, and that really set a style for the PC. So yeah, Jason says, I love my Fractal North. I got the mesh and no RGB to make me happy. That's fair. I like word. Yeah, Lingonberry says, not to sound consumerist, but I would just spec the PC with an O11 if the customer asked for an O11 style case. Yeah, I'm kind of coming to the same conclusion. I think that's probably doable. So yeah, on that note, shall we see what it takes to get this down to 800 quid for the actual customer in question? So what are we looking at? 77. What's the 7700X at 300? Yeah, that's only £100 cheaper.
Oh, hold on. What? I just clicked on the wrong one, didn't I?
Did you?
Yeah, because I clicked on the non-X for more money by accident.
Oh, I see. Yeah, yeah.
Because I wasn't reading.
Yeah. Yeah. Chat reckons we're going to be looking at a 7600X.
Yeah, I expect so as well.
Yeah, but let's see what we can do with the 7700X first. Anything to do with shop interesting this week? Not really. Not going to lie, I'm going to be struggling for a video this week. But yeah, I kind of just got my head down and working on stuff at the moment. I did do an autopsy on a Chrome, which I'm thinking of editing into a video. So we'll see about that. Stephen says, I know the O11 is overused, but it looks nice and you can fit 3 360mm radiators in it. Yeah, that's the thing. The O11 is really overused, but sometimes there's a reason why something is really overused, is because it's really good. So, yeah. No fans on the O11. Yeah, we get away with that. You know, the water cooler is going to come with fans, so we'll have what we need. So yeah, why not go previous gen, 5950X? It doesn't save a meaningful amount of money.
Also, the 5950X is slower for gaming.
Yeah, I was going to say, it doesn't save a meaningful amount of money. It's not meaningfully faster, and you're in a complete dead end for upgrades. So at this point, if you're building budget, then Ryzen 5000 is still competitive. However, if you've got £800 to spend without a graphics card, you're definitely looking at current gen. So yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, we're looking at air coolers again. Yeah. Yeah, AK620. How much is the AK620?
62 quid.
Yeah, I think that's viable.
Yeah, AM5 is on there. They've just not updated their compatibility.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that's fair.
That's fine. So I'm choosing what it will flag up as a non-compatible CPU cooler.
Yeah.
But it is compatible because I just checked the website for it.
Yeah. What GPU are they considering? Right. So we're doing the real spec now. So this is the one that we're looking to deliver to the customer. We have a 3060 Ti to go in it. So
no, we cannot do it with the 7700.
Yeah. Are we still a million miles?
We're at 900 plus.
Oh yeah, no, because we've still we're probably gonna change the case and stuff, but we're still a million miles over. Yeah.
That's with the case change. That's with the O11D.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The deep cool, and now with the 7600, we're now at 860.
Yeah. So hypothetically, drop the SSD to a 1 terabyte, because I originally said to the customer, we'll spec with 1 terabyte, and any extra storage you want is bleed price, effectively. Because at the moment, it looks like we've just hit budget with bleed. So yeah, 813, just about. So what are we looking at here? So everything there is really quite tasty. Yeah, that's no compromise, isn't it? That we've got a decent motherboard in there. We've got a decent CPU.
Yeah.
We've got decent cooling on the CPU. We've got the case they want. And we've got a decent power supply in there. I think that would be the spec, really. There's nothing really there that you would want to change. And we're slightly over budget, so like we could. So if we wanted to get that down into the 700s, we'd drop the motherboard to that ASRock one, wouldn't we? That'd be the answer there, I think. But the problem is that ASRock motherboard is going to look really dumb in an 011.
Yeah, I'd be talking the customer out of the 011.
Yeah, at that point.
Because it's 150 quid and we can get equally decent quality cases for 80.
Yeah.
Which suddenly saves up £70 a budget, which gives you a much better motherboard.
Yeah.
But if you're
we can go to an 011 Mini now because we're not putting in an AIO.
True.
So yeah, if you go back to the list and drop it to an 011 Mini. Forgo the case, build in a cardboard box. Says the bottom of the case and the air cooler are not compatible. They are. The air cooler on... the
air cooler is not compatible because it says it's not compatible with AM5.
Yeah, however, we've just verified that it is in fact compatible. The compatibility filter is wrong. Sometimes PC Part Picker's compatibility filter is just wrong, basically.
There's also a possibility that the cooler might not fit in this case because of the width.
Ooh.
We'd have to actually double check that.
Okay, yeah, I see. Yeah, that's worth double checking then. Yeah.
Also, we'll just need to double check that this can take full ATX power supplies because I can't remember if the Mini can.
Really?
Yeah.
That would be.
Because they did weird stuff on it.
Oh God, they didn't put an SFX chamber on it, did they? I know there's an ITX version of that case, and that certainly won't have an ATX thing. But show us the back, you cowards! Yeah, it's SFX. Oh no! Yeah. Oh, that's terrible, Muriel.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Oh yeah, so the dynamic minis are no bueno. So yeah, we need to go for the. So we need to go for the middle-sized one. Yeah, so, and it's not going to have fans. They're going to need fans. Yeah. Oh, this is really hard because
the Air Mini is compatible and is 110, or you're looking at the Dynamic Evo, which is 175, to get compatibility.
The Air is no bueno. That doesn't fit the product. That he wants front glass on it.
Then you need the Dynamic at 175, which means you're dropping off of AM5 and have to build AM4.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what did we previously had in here when we were at 813?
A case that wasn't compatible because the power supply was not compatible.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. All right. So.
I mean, we're only at 840.
I'm going to move us over here just to reveal the price again. There we go.
So yeah,
840. Okay, so that's 840 with 1 terabyte. Yeah. So
yeah, we need to right. That was 840.
No, but if we do that, it's not going to work in the 011 dynamic. It's going to look really dumb. And at that point, he may. So at this point, we're at the stage where we're basically saying to the customer that it doesn't make sense to do it in this case.
But that's an i3 13100F.
No, we can afford better than that.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's a 13100F or actually, what have we got? 12100, 12400F?
Yeah, Chris Hersford said, I'd never pay 60 quid for an air cooler or 95 for a PSU. New parts premium. Yeah, because sometimes people like to buy new things.
Yes. You could do a 12400F for 732.
Yeah, I'd spend another £100 and be building a 7600. Oh, I mean, these aren't competitive with the 7600, though, are they?
What, the 12400?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say it's similar.
Hmm.
This is also literally like the cheapest B760 board that was on there, but
Yeah.
just to give you ideas.
Yeah. I think we should go back to the previous list we had. Previous list we had. What other options do we have? Let's pretend that we had 900 quid to spend. What can we do with that? Because this is the problem. We're at that weird stage where we're right on the line between two classes of PC. And like, I warned the customer about this specifically, that sometimes you find yourself right in the division between two different tiers. And if you spend like another £100, you get to go into the higher tier, which gets you everything you want. Whereas if we stay strictly on budget, you have to drop back into the lower tier. So if we said we had 900 quid, can we have everything we hoped and dreamed for in there? Like, because 900 quid means that we can put the water cooler back in, and suddenly it all makes sense. And you can say that water cooling a 7600X is dumb, but again, if we're building a boutique PC, which we are, that's not really an issue.
902.
902. Yeah, so show me the list again. I'm going to migrate us over down to the right again. There we go. Whoop. So 7600, that's with the nice water cooler. That's with the original choice of motherboard. That's 32 gigs of RAM, 1 terabyte SSD. That's with the case that we wanted. And the water cooler is going to come with triple fans, so we'll have fans to put in the case. And that's with a suitable power supply. So that, I think, is what I should present to the customer and say, this is what you're looking for, but it costs 900 quid. So do you want to increase your budget, or we've got to drop to a lower tier, realistically? I'm a little bit sad about this because I really didn't think we were going to struggle this badly for price. Stuff's more expensive than I thought it would be. Couldn't bring yourself to spend 175 on a case. I agree, Scotty. Like, when I talk to the customer about this, I think the cost of the case will be a factor. I will probably say to them, you know, look, we can wipe out a lot of cost if we forego the dual chamber style case. We can immediately knock off 70 quid kind of thing. And this is the reason why I don't like these dual chamber cases, because the nice ones are just too expensive. So like, I entirely agree, but I'm working with what the customer wanted at the moment. However, I'm going to say to the customer, with respect, your budget won't reach the case that you want. And there are better options that are a lot cheaper. As said earlier, expectations meets reality. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Buying a better case and going lower spec is crazy. It depends. You know, you buy a case and it'll last you 10 years. You can upgrade spec later on down the line. But also it's a matter of, like, if we lowered the it's a matter of where are you going to draw the line of spec versus case, because, like, if we saved 70 quid on the case, I mean, I guess if we saved 70 quid on the case, you could immediately then spend that £70 and plus a bit extra and go up to a 7700X. So at that point, you'd be correct. So yeah, Colink Unity's a twin glass panel setup for 107. Chinese brand. Yeah, I'll Yeah, see, again, that's the other thing as well, is that if we drop to something like, the Colink or the Game Max, then that would also get us back in budget again. So I think I would present that as an option to the customer. You could go for a budget case in the style that you like. So, yeah. Customer Dad here, he wants the case he spec'd. I mean, I'm going to email all of this over afterwards anyway. Yeah, the other case that we were previously talking about as well, the Height Y40, the reviews on it are bad. So yeah. Also, how much was the Height Y40 again? Just out of interest.
200 and something. I think
That was the Y60.
Oh.
Yeah.
No idea. Then give me a
Yeah.
second.
The Y40 I think was reasonably priced, but the reviews are bad.
There you go.
Oh, what CPU is that?
5800X 3D.
Yeah.
B550 Gaming X V2, 32 gigs of 3600 CL16, 886. That takes you in budget with the Evo.
So 5800X 3D versus 7600.
5800X 3D is this much faster.
Yeah. So basically what we've got is we've made something that's 20 quid cheaper, but a dead-end platform.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
But it slides it slightly closer to a budget. But it's a case of...
Yeah, but you'd tell the customer to save up another 40 quid.
I would tell them to not buy an O11 Dynamic for £175 and buy an £80 case.
Yes, I think you might be right.
That's what I would tell them. But if they are set on the Dynamic... then yeah, they're going to need to find another 150 quid, basically.
Yeah. But yeah, I think this is a good illustration as to why dropping to Ryzen 5000 doesn't make sense.
But it's also a case of it still takes us to a case of this is an £11,000 total, £1,100 total price computer.
Yeah.
With a 3060 Ti.
Yeah.
Which is also separately my point.
Yeah.
I personally would be unhappy with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because it still makes me 1080p high refresh only. 1080p 120 hertz only.
Yeah.
And it's £1,100 total cost. £1,300 total cost.
Yeah, but I mean, we demonstrated earlier on that if you want to go to a higher spec PC, then you're doubling the cost.
I'm just thinking
that's it, because it's like let's pretend that he didn't have a 3060 Ti and he had say a 4070 or a 3080 or something like that. It's now an £1,800 computer.
Yeah.
So.
I don't disagree, but it's also just a case of the total cost.
Yeah. Because it begs the question. Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're only needing to feed a 3060 Ti, then you could just build a cheaper computer in the first place.
Yeah, that's more my point.
Yeah. But again, we're now talking about just a different kind of computer.
Oh, absolutely, I don't disagree, but this was the conversation we were having earlier, wasn't it?
Yeah. Do you need 750 watts? We could take the power supply down a bit.
But it's not going to save us any money, because power supply pricing is awful.
Yeah, that's the problem. Dropping the power supply, like you could take it down to like a 550, but you'd save 20 quid, which doesn't really solve anything. O11 non-Evo is 150. My suggestion for an 800 quid PC is buy a PS5 and a 400 quid laptop. Yeah, but a PS5 doesn't run Steam games.
Just for comparison, that's what you get by swapping to a 5600, which you're not going to notice a difference on a 3060 Ti.
Yeah.
And a 4000D.
Yeah.
You're now at 550. That's more my point. It's just a case of, if you're buying an O11 Dynamic at 175, you need to be spending $2,000, $2,500 total
For it to make sense.
For it to make sense, because I've just dropped the price to 550, and you're not actually changing the gaming performance.
Yeah.
The actual user experience is the same, and I would feel bad selling someone on an identical user experience for £200 more. Sort of thing.
See, at the start of this stream, I didn't think this would be this difficult. I thought £700 or £800, no problems. I didn't think it would be this hard.
Yeah.
But also, I didn't think the actual case that we'd want to buy was going to be 170 either. I was expecting like 140 or something like that. But you know, when it comes down to it, it does just cost that much.
Yeah.
So I think basically another conversation is required, and I think we need to step back and rethink the whole project.
Yeah, because if you were going all in and building it for a lower price, you could do it for 505.
Yeah.
Sure, I've swapped to a 600 GD, but the 600 GD is a solid power supply.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's noisy, but it's a solid power supply.
Yeah.
It's the same as like the TX 500, 600s were.
Yeah.
But we're now at 505 and basically the same performance.
Yeah.
Which now gives you £200 for a decent monitor.
And this is now good value for money.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just, it doesn't have the case that was desired. But again, like the desired case, it doesn't make sense on the budget we're working to, because unfortunately, the only budget that case makes sense in is £1,500 to £2,000.
Because spending more than 10% of your budget on the case seems very silly to me.
Yeah. It will be a choice at the end of the day. Like, you know, it might be that we have a chat with the customer and he's like, no, my heart is set. I want that case. And it's like, okay, we can do that.
That's fine. Then it would be £605, basically.
Yeah.
So it'd be £100 on this price.
Yeah, yeah.
But that still is a 5600, etc. But it's doable.
Yes.
It's actually doable for that price.
Yeah. Yeah. I will I'm gonna have a chat with the customer after the weekend, and I think we're just gonna have to re-strategize this. But this has been enlightening. It's just more expensive than I thought it was gonna be.
It's still a case of a little bit. Still a little bit sad that this is a £505 PC and there's no GPU in it.
Yeah. Prices have come down, but they're still not where we thought they were.
Yeah.
You know.
We need to not forget the price that obviously the pound is worth like only 60% of what it was.
Yeah. Plus time and profits. Yeah, we haven't talked about labour yet.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm pushing for 500-ish pound.
Normally, like labour cost, normally I find that I usually figure that out at the last moment, where you can, because like everything shuffles about slightly when you figure out where you're actually going to buy it from, and something suddenly becomes cheaper or more expensive, or something goes on sale on that day, and you can shuffle it all about and then find your labour cost in there. But we haven't even done that yet either.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just right now it's a matter of just like based on the project description, or the original objective, it can't be done in any way that makes sense.
Yeah. Also a case of, I'd feel really bad selling a £1,100, £1,200 computer with 1 terabyte of storage.
Yeah.
Because it's a case of, that's like, cool, I can have 6 games installed.
Yeah.
And a couple of files.
Yeah.
And I'm done.
Put GameMax Infinity back on the table. That doesn't solve our problem. It helps, but it doesn't solve our problem. And again, the GameMax Infinity is going to have that Chinese build quality, man. Like I say, it's made out of tin and
How much was
dreams.
it? Oh, it's 70 quid.
Yeah.
It's actually a fraction cheaper. It's £9 cheaper. So
Yeah.
in theory, yeah, you'd save a few pennies
Yeah.
based off of this. And
It would
get
save a little
the
bit of money.
look.
Yeah. It would give you the look, but for a little bit
Yeah.
more, you can have a Corsair.
I'd-
And the build quality of a Corsair compared to a Game Max is night and day. They are not in the same league. Like orders of magnitude not in the same league when you put them side by side. It's just it is a different world between the Chinese. Like I say Chinese cases, and I don't mean that derisively. I mean they're just cheap built cases, and they are not in the same league as the premium brands like Corsair, Fantex, Fractal, Lianli. You know, they are worlds apart. They really are.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the cold hard truth there.
Yeah.
So yeah. Don't forget to tell the customer you had your top men working on it. Top men. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, because like if we drop into an ATX class case, then suddenly we have an awful lot more options. You know, Corsair 4000D, Lianli 216, great case, costs a bit extra, but you still get a great case for again 140-ish pounds kind of thing. I think I really.
Oh, 216 is 160 quid?
No.
Oh, no, 100. There we go.
Yeah, I was going to say that's
I was
a broken
about to say,
price.
excuse me?
Yeah.
Excuse
That's
me?
Land Cool. Yeah, like the Land Cool at that price, I could believe, because the Land Cool is shockingly expensive now. The Land Cool has been rebranded as a flagship, and I'm not okay with that. But yeah, the 216.
Oh god, the 216 seems to be having stock issues.
Doesn't surprise me. It's a very desirable case right now. So yeah. Changing the PSU alone from the original spec 7600 has dropped a chunk off. Would have been around 850-ish for that original list, maybe.
Yeah, because we saved £40 on the PSU.
Oh yeah. How did that happen? Oh, that was to go down to a 600.
Because we've gone from a 750E to a 600 GD. Because we were putting in a 7900 XT. But now it's obviously a 3060.
Oh, yeah.
Which is 3060, a 600 is absolutely fine. And for some reason, the 600 GD is cheaper than the 500 GD right now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's that old story of upgrade little and often, isn't it? Because that's the problem. I'm just like, because at the end of the day, maybe, you know, some customers will tell you exactly what they want, but some customer is going to turn around and say, what would you do then?
Oh, you know what we can do?
What?
I think we can get the O11 Air Mini in there. Yeah, we can. It's the Air again, but we can get the O11 Air Mini.
Oh, mesh front panel. That's not hideous.
Yeah, we can get that in for 535.
Worth considering.
Because it's only £110 is the case.
Yeah, that's. I feel like if it has a mesh front panel, there's no point in the dual chamber at all. You may as well just build an ATX case. So yeah,
I'm just
like if the dual chamber does, yeah, because again, it's the front glass. That's what it's all about there. I think, yeah. PSU again, possibly, yeah. Although, hang on a sec. If we go back to no,
it's not compatible. So I've just refreshed the compatibility. And
how much does an SFX power supply cost?
Yeah.
Like, I know it's going to cost a bit extra, but how much extra are we talking here?
Yeah.
Because if we can go back to the O11 MIDI,
we've got £85 to play with there.
Yeah, because if we can go back to the O11 MIDI and just stick an SFX in,
£100 on the power supply.
Yeah, that might solve the problem.
Because
if
the power supply.
Yeah, because if we go back to the O11 MIDI, then that kind of solves our problem. We just didn't want to change the power supply, but actually, how much does an SFX cost? It's probably not that bad.
Too much is the answer to that.
Really?
Yeah, we'd be talking 125 quid
Yeah.
plus the 011. Oh no, kind of.
600?
Yeah. It's just the fact that the price is creeping up and up and up and up.
Sure. However,
But-
600 is that is a system that makes sense in the case they wanted.
True. Yeah.
You're paying a premium for the case you wanted, but
Yeah.
it's the one you wanted.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's way too much. It's fine.
So,
And to go to
but
the
AM4, yeah.
to
Okay.
go to the X3D 275 gives us means it's another 100 and something on there.
So
78, yeah, that takes us to like 750.
So what happens if we try and go to a 7600X on with this again?
It will be £200 more.
It's £200 more. Okay,
think.
what are we at the moment?
600.
600. That's
It
800.
takes us to 800.
That's in budget. Although we're back to the £800 for a mid-range PC issue again.
Yeah,
But
and you'd need to upgrade the cooler because it's only an AK400.
oh,
which
I see.
Which now takes us up another 50 quid as well. So
Yeah,
so we're
no.
up to 830-ish. 800,
yeah.
Well, 800, 830-ish, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll do it. Oh, and also we need to spend another 20 quid on the RAM to go from DDR4 to DDR5.
Yeah. Well, let's spec
So,
it up
yeah.
anyway. Because what I'd like to do for now,
Oh, actually, can anyone confirm if the 7600 comes with a stock cooler? Because the 7600 on the stock blower would be okay, wouldn't it?
No, I don't think any of the 7000 series comes with a stock blower, does it?
Oh, interesting. Okay.
The X doesn't. The non-X might.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The
Yeah.
non-X 7600.
Yeah, the non-X comes with a box cooler.
Cool. There we go. That then saves us some money there because the stock blower is fine on the 7600.
Yeah.
What we're going to put? Was it the Tomahawk Wi-Fi? I can't remember.
It was like 170, isn't it? Pro P Wi-Fi.
I don't know.
Sorted by price again.
Going to go ATX and sort by price. There you go. And then roll around.
Yeah. So what we'll do now, so we're going to spec into something that matches what the customer wanted, and I can say, right, this is what you asked for to the best of my ability. This is the pros and cons of that, and then we can decide if we're going to walk that back or not, basically.
That was unexpected. Do, 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 do. Corsair Vengeance.
But there's no GP. We have a 3060 Ti already exists. Num num. This will have a 3060 Ti in, but that has already been purchased. So the budget we're working for assumes no GPU.
727. Yeah, 727.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
727. I do that 800 quid including build cost. 70 quid to build it. It's going to be a straightforward build. It's not going to have millions of RGB in it. You know, like when you come at me with a million RGB fans, I'm going to want 100 quid for all the cable tidying and stuff like that. But, you know, 70 quid to throw that all together, I'd do that. Ish.
That's what I'd actually want to do.
What have you just changed?
2 terabyte SSD.
Oh, right, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and
Which
again,
means only £28.
Yeah, we're in budget. Well, yeah, so in that case, yeah, I'd probably bump that up to what, I don't know, 850. I'd round that to or something like that. ish. Also, just like I'd have to check about like I don't want to order parts from 5 different places, so I'd have to see whether I could get all of this stuff there on the day. But that's something to check at the last minute. But hypothetically, this was the original objective within budget.
Oops.
More cocoa.
Free delivery from there anyway, which
Fair
isn't
enough.
terrible.
Yeah.
Just check other suppliers for this. If you went to Amazon for that, it's another £22.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we're now at $7.92.
Maybe. Well, I don't mind, but you know, some stuff I get from other places, I'd have a rummage around. But this is
absolutely.
solvable, and it's not going to impact the price by more than 50 quid. You know. So,
But
so yeah.
That, it makes it between 850 and 900.
So hypothetically, what we have here, I think this is a decent spec. It costs more because it's in a very particular case, but I'm a big believer that if you want a certain case, go and get that certain case. Follow your dreams. And I think it's a matter of saying, you know, look, the price point of this is not amazing, but this is what you wanted. These are the cases that you looked at and you said, I want one like that. Here's one like that, and this is how much that costs.
Yeah.
That's my takeaway from this.
Yeah, we'll still be in that.
Yeah. So, yeah. And so there's going to be some bits that need to change on that later on down the line. You know, I agree. Like also, you know, it got brought up. This is with a stock blower, not with a water cooler or anything. So it's going to look kind of dorky. But again, we've got bleed space in the price. The customer may turn around and say, I will pay a bit extra to have the water cooler included in that and stuff like that. And again, it's up to them if they want to do that.
Yeah, don't forget though, that's 125 quid. So we're now at so we're now at 950.
Yeah. Yeah. But also, you know, like you mentioned that this is all in aid of a 3060 Ti system.
Yeah.
But you can change a graphics card.
Sure, but that's more money.
Yeah, but they can change a graphics card in 6 months' time when they've saved up more money again.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just a case, obviously, I'm viewing this from the point of view, it's more money.
Yes.
And I feel like I'm just trying to be the voice of the argument against, well, why don't you spend an extra £10? Why don't you spend an extra £10? Stop being poor. Buy a better computer. You know, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And just the fact of, obviously, we could build what would be the same performance computer for £505.
Yeah.
By building on AM4.
Yeah.
By building AM4, it could be £506 sort of thing.
Yeah.
Which saves £200.
Yes.
No, sorry, £250 sort of thing we're talking about. And £250 plus some saving gives you a new graphics card kind of thing. And it's that thing of little and often, if that's the way you're looking at it.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, if you could save that list, and I'm going to present that one, and I'm also going to present the £500 option as or the AM4 option as a, you know, with that conversation in mind. Here is what that would look like for a mid-range system. That, you know, like you've got more money to spend on this, but for what you already have, this makes a lot more sense. And then you just upgrade all over again, this time in 3 years or something, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And also by going for the AM4 system, it means you can actually have a decent monitor if they don't already have a decent monitor.
Yeah, that's the other option. Yeah, they could spend the extra money they've got on a new monitor if they don't already have a nice one. So yeah. Yeah, I think that's the case. As I say, I'm a bit sad because I was like, I thought this would be easier. But yeah, this has landed in a really oddball price point, especially with the brief in mind of dual chamber case. That is more difficult to achieve than I thought. I think if it weren't for the dual chamber case, we probably could have achieved this. And that's the other thing, is I would then be suggesting to the customer, if you haven't got your heart set on a dual chamber case, that opens up a lot of doors, you know. So yeah, I will write all of this down and present it.
There's money you'd save on the actual case. There's 15 quid there, and then there's £70 that you'd save on power supply.
Yeah, what was their name? Yeah, I think it was Trader 2500 said, "I'm customer's dad." Obviously, don't know if you are or not. Not sure off the top of my head. So yes, said that they've got their heart set on that case. Send an email, and I will send an email, and we'll have a chat. Basically,
Yeah, because obviously, I think I'm viewing this more from the point of view of just explaining to the person paying the money that this isn't a good value option.
yeah.
But sometimes what you want isn't a good value option. It's what you want.
Exactly that. I think
And
they're
as
both,
long
yeah.
as that point is understood, that the good value option isn't necessarily the good value option, but it is what you want. As long as you're not trying to justify that by anything other than this is the one I wanted.
Yes, yeah. And like by the same token as well is just, you know, I think the other thing to bear in mind is that if you're picking a bad value option, if you're picking a bad value option because you like it aesthetically kind of thing, then that is also fine.
Yeah.
However, also if you're picking a bad value option, which is a technical choice rather than an aesthetic choice, that's when that becomes kind of stupid kind of thing. You know, like when you say, I'm going to buy for example, I'm going to buy the NVIDIA card, even though there is an AMD card that is faster and cheaper and has all of the same features that are relevant. I'm going to get it just because I want NVIDIA. It's like, no, now you're just spending money that you don't have to spend because there exists a cheaper option that is superior. Because at a technical level, it doesn't matter. Whereas an aesthetic level, well, that's now subjective. So, you know, yeah,
absolutely.
I think that is the moral of the story there. Harriscom says, I see why you're not a fan of speccing PCs. Well, this one was a difficult one, to be honest. But yeah, I thought we would get a couple of computers done today. So yeah.
And arguably we have.
I suppose, yeah.
So we spun through the AM4 one, the AM5 one.
That's true, yeah.
And then looked at what a 13100, 1200 and 12400 would
look like. We kind of went through a journey of what other options would look like on this.
Yeah.
So
the thing I would want to just double check is what the price between a 5600 is and a 12100 or 12400, because the 12400 will be faster in gaming.
Yes, I agree. If we were looking at a 5600, I would probably pivot to Intel.
Yeah.
And do
unless you can pick up a second-hand one and a second-hand motherboard that then suddenly takes the price 50 quid lower.
Well, that's just it. You know, like if it
becomes a different consideration.
If we start looking down those roads, it gets me to thinking about that Z690, Z670 board that I've got with the bent CPU pins. You know, like if I can get that fixed up, that'll be a cheap board.
Yeah.
You know, but on the other hand, I don't know what my timescale is on that because I don't have a CPU to test in it. So yeah, I need to get hold of another CPU because I can't take the one out of the Fractal Pop over there because that's provisionally sold, that PC. So I don't want to take it apart now. It hasn't been paid for yet, but it has been reserved. So yeah, I think I'm going to have to take the plunge on buying another Intel CPU and hope I can fix that motherboard. If not, it's a case of, well, I guess I'm going to have to buy a motherboard for the CPU now. But that won't be a waste of time because Intel is competitive at the moment.
Yeah,
so
certainly if you bought a 12100, if you bought like a 1200, 1200F, if you bought the non-F, that's reasonably cheap. And if a board isn't fixable, buy a cheap motherboard. You've now got a cheap Office PC.
Yeah.
Because you're chucking cheap DDR4 in it, you've got a cheap Office PC.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
Because the 1200 as an Office PC is going to be a wrecking machine.
Yeah, 13400 isn't meaningfully cheaper. Yeah. Yep, that's fair.
But the 1200, 12400, 13400 are faster for gaming than a 5600.
Yeah.
And that was the comparison we were making: 5600 to 12100 or 13400, that range.
Yeah. It's also worth noting that anything that you drop if you buy, you know, like especially if you did a 12th gen CPU, if you could squeeze a DDR5 motherboard into that, you also potentially have a platform that you could drop a big i7 into later on down the line as well.
Yeah, you could put a 13700K in there.
Yeah.
you know, in 2 years' time.
And then demolish everyone, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah. Whereas again, 5600, sure you could put a 5800 X3D in there, but we're still talking about a dead platform. Whereas if you build 12th gen, you're technically on a currently supported platform because you can drop a 13th gen into it, which is we're getting into the realms of future proofing, which is a really complicated topic, but still it's something to think about. So yeah. 14th gen might be Z690. Interesting. That would be out of character for Intel, but we'll see.
14th gen is Raptor Lake refresh.
Oh, since it's a refresh, then yeah.
It is probably going to be software locked out of B650 and Z690, but work on Z790 and B760 purely for a software lockout.
Yeah.
Would be my expectation. Because we saw Z790 refresh motherboards at Computex, and 14th gen is coming on Z790, basically confirmed by those refresh boards.
Based on Intel's history, a software lockout is pretty standard issue for them. Yeah. So yeah, it's just. Yeah, I would have been surprised if that was the case, because
if
Intel...
If they don't, and they do three generations of support, and they start rolling into 3 generations of support, suddenly AMD loses a huge feature of their motherboards being more expensive.
Like, it would be extremely uncharacteristic of Intel to do this, but...
They're getting their teeth kicked in.
Yeah, it's possible for them to do this. It would make business sense for them to do this, and... they need some new options, don't they? So yeah. Be amazed if they get the Z690 locked out. It would be unprecedented, though. That's the thing.
It wouldn't be unprecedented. They have done it before.
Oh, right.
Therefore, it would not be unprecedented. It would be precedented.
It would be unprecedented for them to allow a 3-generation-old motherboard to support the new CPU.
Yes.
I have enjoyed this conversation in English.
Unprecedented is a negative. Not unprecedented is a negative. Double negative, it has been precedented.
I don't want to talk about this anymore. I have enjoyed this conversation in English. We'll be back next week with something else, everyone. Thanks for sticking around. Yeah, we're out of here. Yeah, thanks for sticking around. Thanks for being here. Thanks for the super chats. We'll be back next week with something else, I think. No idea what. We don't have a lot of stream ideas at the moment. However, I kind of like these specking ones. I think these specking PC streams are good, fun, because they start conversations about bits of hardware. So yeah. But yes, as Saj just pointed out, I will be streaming on Twitch live tomorrow. God of War. It's getting hectic, yo. So if you want to hear more of my dumb voice, I'll be on Twitch tomorrow, 7 p.m. UK time. Otherwise, we'll be back next week. And that's about it. That's all I've got to say.
Indeed.
Bye.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Toodaloo.
Listen to some David. How do you pronounce it? Is it Guetta? Guetta?
I believe it's just Getter.
Getter. Okay. I might listen to them.
But I have also heard of David Guetta. So I am uncertain.
I am titanium. Okay.
Yes.
I'm going now. Goodbye, everyone.
Toodaloo. Tatty bye. Have fun.